All right, Dom. So the last person we talked to is now going to go on a cross-country road trip across America. So that being said, talking to us has extremely profound effects.
It's
Well,
really
to a
profound.
podcast.
Yep.
May I ask who that was?
Pablo
Pablo.
Baca.
Oh, I've not listened to his one yet, so I also don't know what I'm expecting because, like, I've not seen you guys speak together before. So I'm like, ooh.
Oh, it's gonna be something.
Well, this is it. We're on. This is the start of the show. Welcome to episode 2 of the Wax Toaster with our guest Dominic Bruce and my co-host Joey Lunger.
What's up?
Here we
All
are.
right. So
Thank you.
where are you right now, Dom?
I am in my bedroom in my apartment in the Nørrebro area of Copenhagen in Denmark. I've just come back from spending Christmas with Scott Quinney and his partner and her family because I didn't go home for Christmas to Scotland. So now I'm just biding my time before New Year. Just my roommate's out of the apartment because I had corona and he fled the apartment and he's never come back.
Scared him off?
Yeah. I mean, he originally was here for 5 days when I first had like the strongest symptoms, and we were we could have been better with the hygiene, I guess, if you look at it like that. But he got a negative result, and I don't know how that happened, but he managed to get a negative result, and I got a positive one. So he left to live somewhere else, and I've just been kind of alone in the apartment for the last few weeks.
Crazy. So you had corona, and
I had corona, yeah.
so
was corona
are you testing negative now?
I have not tried yet. I've not gone because it's like you don't, it takes like sometimes I think it can take like 3 weeks or longer to show up as a negative test because it's in your system still. But I'm no longer like contagious, I don't think, or else I've been very irresponsible going to a Christmas dinner, and my symptoms are gone. And I followed the requirements that the Danish health system are putting out there, which is like you wait for a week after you've got the positive result, and then you wait and see if you have symptoms still and judge it off that.
How bad were your like what were your like was it very bad? You're the first young person I know that's been like, yeah, I actually got sick.
Yeah, I mean, I like to begin with, I was totally convinced it was a cold because I just had or like a kind of like a fever because I had like a real backache. That was what the first symptom was. Just like my lower back was aching and I was eating painkillers, just like wishing it would go away. And then I woke up with like a full nose one day, I had to get the snot out. But that was about it. That was about it. And then, oh no, sorry, the major sort of like corona symptom was I lost all sense of smell and taste, like totally.
Is it
You
still
got that now?
Yeah.
No, it just came back like literally 2 days before Christmas or something, like so I could taste my Christmas dinner, which was nice. But like the sense of smell hasn't really come back. Like I have to lift things all the way up to my nose to smell. I have to be like, I can't really like pick up the surrounding.
That's wild.
Yeah, like
Pretty
the sense of the loss of the sense of taste and smell was hilarious. Like being alone in the apartment. At one point, I hadn't showered for quite a few days, and then I went to smell my armpit, and then I just started laughing because I realized like I probably smell really bad and don't
But
know.
you just couldn't even tell.
No,
That's amazing, dude. I need that.
it was so funny, and then just like little things like I went to make a coffee, and then I go to sip it, and it just tastes like warm water. Like it's like water doesn't taste. It's just like the sensation of warmth. There's no taste. It's just. So then I started like working with it, and I was like, okay, then if I don't have taste, then I have to go after texture. So I started like getting like popcorn and like sparkling water.
That's so interesting. That must have been so fun to just play with textures
Like,
rather
well,
than taste.
yeah, exactly.
I've been big on kiwis. I would love to eat kiwis without tasting them just to see what it's like.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Maybe
Furry and juicy all at once with no taste or smell.
Would you put it in the fridge beforehand?
The kiwi?
extra cold. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. No.
Yeah. Room temp.
See, that's two forms of taste. Like that's two. If you didn't have taste, that's two ways of enjoying your kiwi: warm or room temperature, or like ice cold. Or
So those are your options. Instead of taste, you just had hot or cold.
mm-hmm.
That's
It's a
wild.
different spectrum to work with. It's funny.
So you're living with Carl, Benny, Robert. I've seen he was your roommate. He was the one who fled your sick ass.
Yeah, it's me and him. We live together. It's fun. We have a little 2-person blade house.
And
That's sick, dude.
I've seen you guys are working with David. He's filming stuff, and you guys are all. I've seen some of your, I guess, leftover clips from parks and stuff.
Yeah, that was like, I didn't know if that was ever going to come out, but that was just a few clips we'd got at the skate park one day, and he put that out, I guess, teasing a little bit what we've been working on. Yeah, I guess maybe we can get into that a bit later.
That's
Sure.
cool.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see Carl skate, like really skate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's your feelings on, like, because it's funny because Carl Benny and I met at Roskilde Festival, which I'm probably sure you guys are familiar with seeing videos of or whatever.
Mhm.
And we met there just dancing at a concert one time, like, and I didn't even know he was a blader, but he was at the fucking with the skate crew because he bladed and knew the bladers, so he was like dancing and hanging out with us, and he was hanging out with Montre and stuff. And yeah, we just had a really fun time dancing at this Barrington Levy concert, the reggae musician, with no shoes on. And then afterwards, we realized we'd been dancing on the ground, and there was glass everywhere, and we hadn't cut our feet. We'd just been like dancing where the glass was. And I remember that memory. And then I didn't see him for like a few years. And that was 2015. And then in 2017, I moved to Denmark, and I was walking down the street. And at the other side of the street, I seen him. And we went over to each other and started speaking. And then I invited him said I just moved here. And I invited him to my apartment, and he stayed for a week, and we skated and hung out, had a good time. And then I didn't see him again for like a year. And then he came the following summer and spent like a week as well. And then I was moving into a new apartment, and I needed a roommate. And we were speaking a lot at the time. And I said to him, like, hey, do you want to move in? And at the time, he was living in this animation school that's like 2 hours, 3 hours from here.
Hmm.
And so he decided that he would move in, but he couldn't like get the money for the rent immediately. So I had somebody live here before he could live here. And then, yeah, then he's moved in, and he's been in here since March. And then Corona came like immediately. So we had a lot of time to skate together in those first few months of lockdown. Yeah, he's my sidekick. He's my respect to Carl Benny.
Your better half.
He's my other half. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice
That's
to have that, especially
Yeah.
during Corona when everything's super suppressed as far as like who you can see and what you're gonna do. It's good to have a friend close to you.
Definitely, and especially like if you're into the same thing and use the same outlet for your frustrations or whatever, or just we skate in different ways, but we speak a lot about skating, and like we have a skating relationship somehow. Even when we're not skating, there's some sort of like creative thing going on. Yeah, I think we've been good for each other's skating actually, because I think that Carl Benny's very, very like very good on his skates, and he's really like he has crazy like dance like movements. But and I like really enjoy that side of skating. But I also have like somehow got like a classic skate background, and I've grown up like wanting to grind handrails and jump stairs. But I have like my heart is with the creative like fucking drive to throw myself off stairs and stuff. Like that's never gone away, even though my focus has changed. And
I
so
totally agree. I love that. Like, and finding that balance, like, is so difficult. And you do a great job at that middle ground between like classic street skating and like creative technical rollerblading. It's beautiful.
that's kind of where that's what I see as like what I can offer. Like I like having that kind of like I feel completely free on my skates. I feel like I can do whatever I want in a way. Like I not there's not really rules there. There is like ways people do things, but like when I go on my skates, I just want to like feel my body and be like, what do you want to do? Like what does my body feel like doing? Like what's the movements? And then I work that feeling into like, okay, like true top soul then becomes some weird like spin around thing, and then you kick that, and then whoa, that felt there's you can unpackage the tricks and find like new movements, which is really cool.
I think like sometimes people see your skating, they're like, he's really energetic. That's what I'd say. Like when I see it, it looks really energetic. For people that can't really describe some of the other things that you're doing, like you said, oh, I'll do a true topsoul, and then you didn't even really describe much about what happened after. You were like, oh, you spin around and bunk a bunk a bunk. It's like it's funny how some of those other things aren't as descriptive as like that canonical true topsoul start. Everything else.
Yeah, that name we've like given to it that's specific, and when you say true topsoul, you have like the instant like picture freeze frame in your head, you know. But the other thing is kind of I was recently listening to one of the mushroom blading podcasts, which I never do, but I did listen to one and it was good. And the guy was describing that the Ben Magaziner, I think he was just describing how these tricks that are kind of, it was actually Joey saying it, no, not Joey, Todd saying it, that these tricks that are not really in the vocabulary, it's hard to even imagine them because you have to also like, you know, create a sequence in your head, like topsoul to true top horn to background, you know, these like switch ups. If you're doing it with tricks that aren't really tricks, it's hard to like explain it to someone. Like if you're going to film something and they're like, what the filmer is like, what are you going to do? And you're like, I'm going to like bonk this and kick that. And then I'll like end up on that. And then like on there. And then.
Have you ever, it makes me think about tricks that I see and people are like, oh, he true top horn this out ledge. And you're like, that's it? Well, it's like, oh, well, he did that, but then he swung his legs around like this. And then you act like that on your feet just to show people. You're like, I don't know what you call this, but he did this. And you're like, oh, shit. That's more than just a true top horn. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like moving forward, like there is enough people that are seeing skating in that way that they're just going to become part of the vernacular. And like the more that we can come up with these like slang names for small movements, the more it's going to become part of like actual vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Have you been sexually harassed by the Skater HQ Instagram? Are your moves sex?
Yo,
you have sex moves? Do you lace sex?
I've definitely had some garnish, I think. Yo, I've been speaking with Sizemore about Skate Club because I think it's so funny. I think that it is a good voice. Like I think he's but I actually had to unfollow because it just overloaded my feed with skating to the point where I couldn't see anything else other than skating. But then I use it for like a library purpose. Then I like every so often go on it and I just binge it and just like check what he's been posting, you know?
It's a good binge, dude. Because he does pick some quality stuff. I just don't need it all day long.
There was a few times where I was a little bit like, oh, quality control. Like, how can you post that and that? Then I don't exactly know your vision. But then for the main part, I think I totally get with it, and I see the energy he's perceiving in the people skating, and I like his selections. Like I think that's the kind of skating that also catches my eye in a lot of ways, and yeah, I think he's got a good way of just getting behind someone skating and picking out details that other people might not be able to perceive. And like once he showed that to people, then people could maybe like see that person skating in a different way, and I think it's cool to have things like that popping up because it just kind of expands the culture somehow. Even if it's just an Instagram account, it's still
he highlights this kind of thing that it makes sense to. Everything that he's picking is like it has a purpose in what he's showing you. Exactly. Little bits of over and over again, real fast.
Yeah.
But I like that. It's a good way to study things. I'm like, all right, you can really take a look at this.
The term sex took a little bit like I've got a group chat with some people and we post things in there and we have our laughs and stuff. And the sex thing got posted in pretty quickly, like, yo, how is why is that term being used like that? But I mean, I'm done with it. Like
it definitely takes a second to get used to. but now it's kind of funny.
Your body can pop. Your body's like,
Yeah, those new accounts are kind of funny that highlight these very specific things in rollerblading. Like I think it's that guy and the Montgomery Monsters, and then that page is like the full other spectrum of like things that we might appreciate.
I like that selectivity too. That's also some like, that's something to bite on. That's like a good meal.
Yeah.
My personal favorite was Kazu's page though, when he was doing 1968 or 80, whatever his count was.
Rollerblading 1968.
Yeah. He had really good selection, but he stopped doing it.
Yeah, where's Kazu going? He was like front page for a second.
Dude,
Yeah.
COVID probably iced him for a minute, just like a lot of other people. How's your travel like going? Like, where can you go right now? Because we can't leave America.
You guys are in like prison
We go
camps.
to Mexico if we wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I seen Joe Atkinson got into the States through Mexico.
That's crazy.
But for us, I mean, I can travel places, I think, if I want to. Then it's just like you have to handle it a certain way when you get there with regards to isolation or quarantining. But I know the people that have still been traveling through Corona. Like I haven't really left Denmark ever since Corona started in March. I did go to Germany for 2 weeks in the summertime, but that was like, yeah, there was things I couldn't do then, but it was actually wasn't that bad at that point. Like you didn't even have to wear masks everywhere. But now it's more like, enforced and stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying the time having nothing on my schedule. Like I'm actually usually I go on trips quite often and I go to like, I don't know, maybe like a comp here or there. But I'm actually like really stoked that things have just shut down. And I obviously want things to get back up and running again in terms of like there's a lot of things that Corona has brought that I dislike. There's things I miss, like going to a bar with my friends or just having the opportunity to do things like that.
Be out.
But I also like the pace, like because usually I get a bit, I can easily get anxious about like time and about like I don't know, figuring things out, fitting things together. And I think when I don't have to worry about skating in that sense, then I'm just trying to focus on like getting that good feeling about skating back again. Like, like kind of reconnecting with the feeling of skating as if you were a kid. Like I just want to go out and do tricks and without the camera and just with my friend. Like I'm trying to have fun on my skates at the moment. I'm really trying to reconnect with like what skating really is, like whatever that I think that is.
You have a cool group of friends too there. That's probably helping a lot, like with your feeling of like I don't need to go so far to like get that feeling.
We speak a lot. I mean, like there's a lot of feelings come up about rollerblading somehow. There's like rollerblading isn't just rollerblading, I guess. It's the act, but it's also different people take to it in different ways. And I'm somebody who kind of has I quite often take to it as if it's my whole life, and it's like just like my whole life. Like I can't think of life without this piece. And it's like the thing I have to put all my energy behind. And at moments I feel that like glory moment of like skating is like everything to me. And I will like, I just need to like carry it through. And other times I feel like, what is going on? Like seriously, like what am I doing? Like what's going on? Like how did I get here? And then it's not a mistake and I've chose to be here, but what is going on? Like
you're so far into it already. It's like
what would be a situation that makes you feel the latter?
I'll give you both because I don't want to just say one. I want to give both sides of the spectrum. I think I have general frustrations about the way skating, the sort of lack of information there sometimes feels like the skate community has with each other. Like I feel like there's some sort of like assumptions people take up about the way skate community functions, like, or like the way things are in the industry, or like the relation a writer has to their sponsor, or the way you represent a company, or there's just all these assumptions that are kind of half there. And it's like identify with skating so much that I think I, without realizing I'm doing it, expect a lot from it. And you know, I don't have like a career really. I have a job, but I don't call it my career.
Mm.
And I don't have a formal education that I've pursued since school. And so I think that there's things that other people have pursued in their life that I haven't. And because I've pursued skating as deeply as I have, I think I sometimes want skating to fulfill the lack of those other things. You know, to give me that feeling of like somehow security or safety in my life, with regards to like something having your back. Because sometimes it's hard to know, hard to put your energy completely behind something if you don't know if it's going to catch you. But that's not something you can expect of skating, because then you have to look at your reasonings or your reason behind why you skate. And that's kind of what I mean when I'm talking about like reconnecting with the feeling of skating as it first came to you when you were a kid. Because like that wasn't motivated by the fact that you were gonna get this or get that, or that was like a feeling that you found, and you thought, I don't know what you thought, maybe you thought it was fun or whatever. There's multiple ways you could have like got into it. But I think that skating for if you're skating in order to satisfy sort of like your status or something, or like you want like a job out of it, then you're gonna actually find yourself in a lot of disappointment, I think.
Look,
um
it sounds like you're thinking, like when I hear you talking, it sounds like skating is, there's two different types of skating. There's like skating as an industry, which seems like something that can provide for people because it's like there's money involved and there's like a whole thing, people are selling things. But then there's skating as a culture and a community, which is very different. It has almost nothing to do with like the business aspect.
so I would agree. I set those things, I think, a little bit like aside. Like I think that what I do and what I partake in, like when I'm with David and stuff and we're out filming, that's skating to me. Like that is the heart of skating to me. And that is like the fucking culture. That is where skating is born. Like in those moments is where you create the memories that you're never gonna forget. You
Hug
push
your friends.
yourself, you commit to skating and you put your heart into it, and you choose skating, and you're like, I'm gonna, it's you develop things like with your friends watching and alongside each other. There's just like there's a spirit to that, and there's like that, there's something that I wouldn't trade that for anything. That feeling is so important to me. And that, like, I've not ever found that feeling exactly in that way in other things. And then I've tried to find similar things in other things. And there's great feelings out there, but skating is like, in that moment's like, that's a really priceless feeling. But then you run into the other thing of, there's the industry, and the industry has skaters in it who know that feeling that we're talking about. But there's also people in the industry who don't know that feeling, maybe,
Mhm.
but are good at like creating like, I know they've caught on to the industry at some point, and they've created products for the industry to use. And for sure there's companies are necessary. Like we can't go full anarchy, and because I don't know any friends who are going to be creating any like kitchen molds anytime soon or anything. It's good we have we have companies, and it's important but it's important, I think, that we evaluate um the politics behind the companies, and
I
but
think
it's
what you're
sometimes
saying is like,
it's hard to figure out what they are.
yeah, I mean, I totally agree that there needs to be some version of synergy between those two pieces of skating that you're talking about, that corporate side and that feeling side need to like feed each other rather than like one just feeding the other, you know?
Mm.
It's hard because it's a business, and like friends don't operate like a business. So that's like you're like, how do you make this group of friends a lucrative business? It's like it almost seems like an impossible thing for me. But I mean, I it is possible, I guess.
I think you run into some stuff too where it's like you want to, so the relationships they're in the middle. They're kind of wish-washy because they're not completely formal agreements you have with companies, because you can write to your company rep or whatever via Facebook at any time of the day you want, you can throw emojis in there, and you can do whatever, like and it gets mixed up with the conversations with your girlfriend and with your mom and dad, and it gets all blended together, and there's no hierarchy of like prioritization of like, I guess maybe maybe some people handle it more formally and they've got like a specific email just for speaking to their skate sponsor, but I don't know about that.
It's funny because the people that I've dealt with doing like some projects is like more or less the email stuff, like dealing with Rollerblade. It's been like no Facebook, no text messages, no phone numbers. It's like, we're going to email, use invoices. I'm like, okay, this is an adult thing. I'm not used to
I kind of like that, because that at least challenges you to like that challenges you to grow in a direction that somehow is parallel to the directions other people are growing in their lives when they have like normal jobs and stuff. Like signing a formal invoice.
I guess what I'm saying is like when I was met with that from skating, I was like, whoa, I didn't really expect anything like this, because this is kind of different from what you're saying. It's like usually it's Facebook messages, here's $100, blah blah blah, good edit.
Mm.
So it's definitely like, I think that standard of like using email and like just kind of giving like clear things instead of like wishy-washy. You don't have to like answer for a certain period of time. Leave the message on scene. Like, I know this guy saw it. What are we doing? Like, what does he think? Is he like, am I off? What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the skate world is like, I just find it very unclear. I find it very, like, I get very confused. I have like so many conversations about this. I'm kind of, I think, moderating myself right now, because I feel like I usually like don't think about it so much. It just kind of comes out in a splurge of like thoughts. Whereas
Like,
right now I'm trying to make it coherent to people. But
like what do you mean like specifically, like what do you mean, like what's like unclear about like your experience with like the thing, like, because that's what I'm missing. Like what part is unclear? Because you're on razors and like you get
well,
skates.
I find it hard to understand, for example, what being a pro skater means. I don't actually understand what that means. I don't, because I don't think that we have a clear description of what that is actually these days. Or I don't think that the models we were using in the past with skating, I don't think they're relevant anymore. And I think that either we have to get rid of them or update them, because the way they are now are actually somehow harmful. I don't think they help people own their position in a team.
I think like the way that the them team treats the pros, and like that system of like royalties and everything, the way that they can kind of like make something off what they've made with a company. Do you think like that's a more of like a standardized thing that should be like?
Oh shit! I think we lost Taylor for a second.
Did we lose Taylor, or can you hear me?
You froze for a second.
Sorry, Mike.
Okay.
No, you're good.
I'm back.
Continue.
So I was saying like the them team and the royalties that they're paying, like $25 to $30 a skate. Like, what do you think about that as like for the boot companies, like across the board, if they're gonna do that? I think that that's a good standardization to start with.
I totally support it. Like I couldn't have been happier. I think I texted like 5 friends when I seen that about Danny's skate. I was so stoked. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see my friends getting what they deserve for what they do, or at least getting financial support in an industry where there is money. Because I actually don't believe the narrative that skating doesn't have money.
Totally agree, dude.
I don't
Totally
believe
agree.
it. I think it's fucking bullshit.
It's a farce. It's a full farce. I mean, like an industry that's been dying, that hasn't died for over 30 years. Like we have no money. Like,
No,
Dude, they're fishing us. They're fucking spoon feeding us and like garbage. It's not true.
letting
I
us.
think what really happened was it hit a lull and they realized what they could run the companies at, like such a low point. And now that they have more money, they're not raising their bar. They're just keeping it at the same point.
No, because enough people believe the old narrative, and now also that narrative was created at a time where old skaters quit. But those old skaters have started skating again, but they only remember the old narrative, so they're reinforcing it. Like
It's horrible. They're like, yeah, it's just as dead as it always was. I love this. I'm like, no, you all just bought skates. It's not the same anymore.
yeah. They're like, oh, it's still the same old cats in the game. It's nice to see all the same old companies, still showing face and stuff. Which is nice, of course. We want these companies to survive, of course.
Yeah.
But some have their time. Some good, some come and go.
Wait, what was that?
I said it's important that companies survive in order for the skating to go on. But it's important that some companies die too, because some have to come and go. I think that's the cycle of life, and it's no different in skating.
Which one should die?
I wouldn't like to say. I just think there's been ones that there's been ones that have been born, and there's been ones that have there's been skate companies that were here that didn't stand the test of time, and also that's what makes them special. Like people fucking praise and worship Mind Game as if it was this like ancient technology or something. It's like it's like Ancient Aliens vibe. Like Mind Game was once here, and now
It's like the
time is
hieroglyphs.
gone, and we have to pick up where they left off. We're left with the crumbs.
We're waiting to be visited by the Mind Game again. We're all just
we're waiting.
Waiting
for Latimer to return and give us the nod of approval as we go forward.
The second coming.
Speaking of companies that died, me and Jerry were saying before, you were one of the last people on SSM too, right? Or are we wrong?
I was getting flowed on SSM. I think they were calling it like Youngblood or something. They had these different.
Or were you a prospect?
Was that what it was? Maybe.
You were on with Parker. That was the cool.
Yeah.
The Proombus.
Yeah, that was SSM. That was a crazy story. Like I was skating SSM, and then I was in Barcelona for 4 weeks one time, and I woke up one morning and picked up my phone to check Instagram, and it said that SSM had died, and like there was just this public post that I think Dave Lang had made it like SSM is no longer a thing, and I just remember the first thought that came to my mind was, I'm not skating a skate if it's not a company anymore. And I went straight to the skate shop in Urcia in Barcelona and bought myself a pair of Roshis. But it's funny, I don't know why I had that thought that like I can't skate a company that's not alive anymore. I have to move on from here. But like I respect to Shima big time for being hooked up at the time. That was coming through Ollie Short. I had a connection with Ollie Short and he helped me get flowed skates, because him and Gabriel Hayden had come on a trip to Scotland on an England tour, they came to visit London and they came up to Scotland, and they seen me skating, and I was skating rollerblades at the time, and then they asked if I wanted to skate some SSMs and had got me some. That was like an amazing moment.
Oh, sick dudes to be sought out by, dude. That's sick.
I used to text with Ollie quite often, and it used to be nice to have that communication, because I definitely looked up to his skating, and he's been influential.
Yeah, I could definitely see Ollie's influence on your skating.
Yeah, I just think his approach has been very raw and punk, but also delicate in some way.
Thoughtful. It's always thoughtful while being raw, which is such a hard balance.
I can imagine Ollie. Somehow Ollie looks like he's just rushed out the door on the way to work, but he's also got the he's also just in perfect time and got his newspaper under the arm. He's just got this I don't know, he's got an amazing character on his skates.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So
Yeah.
were you was SSM still live when you went to LA and hung out with Parker? I remember that was like one of the first times I'd seen you in the States. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they skated.
With Jordan, right?
Sick.
Yeah, I think I probably met you on that trip, Joey. I'm not sure, but I definitely that day that I was skating with Parker and I was also skating with Jordan Williams and fucking Lorb.
So that's actually was years before I moved to LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was still in New York at that point. But I was watching. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That's like I think that's going back to 2014.
Yeah. So yeah, I was still actually I might have been in Colorado at that point. I'm not really sure. But I remember that edit of
Just
you.
following the legal weed.
Yeah, exactly. You already know. Yeah, I'm in Vegas right now. We got legal pot here too.
Free the weed, I believe.
You believe? Yeah.
Free the weed.
Is it? What's the laws there?
It's illegal.
Just straight up illegal.
Straight up, like, actually, this is relevant. I bought this at the shop last night. Check this shit. Like that, the policeman's gonna come up to you and be like, "Yo,
Oh,
that's a sick little piece you got there, dude."
Yo, this is like a British police, like a London police officer. I found it. It was like a New Year's hat they were selling at the supermarket, and I was like, I need that.
That's nice.
So that I can bust my friends, give them a citizen's arrest when they're doing illegal stuff as they are.
Confiscate their paraphernalia.
Pass that spliff you have in your hand.
Try and stop some traffic with that.
Yeah, dude. For the hill bombs.
Yeah, totally. You could actually take it out to the skate session and get uniformed up. I'm down for that. That's something I want to kind of go after a little bit, like dress up Blade in like, skits. That'd be sick.
More theatrics.
Yeah, you could assess society and pick out like 15 basic character types and just skate as each of them. That could be funny. Be like, the banker, and you just choose these character types, and then you just make a skate series where I'm just giving away this good idea now. So someone's gonna either do it or
I want to add more. And when you dress up in these characters, you have to skate in their environment, no matter.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Spot selection is key in this little idea.
Oh, that's something I didn't think about actually.
Yeah, like you're a banker, you skate a bank. You're a fireman, you skate a firehouse.
You skate like a bank, as in like
Oh, now we're getting punny. I see you. No, that's sick. I feel like
you want to hear a bad joke?
Yeah, definitely.
What's a skater's favorite thing about capitalism? Bank transfers.
Oh. Oh man,
that's so terrible.
Thank you for that.
It's an original.
That's an original.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you credit when I use that poorly. That's sick though.
Remember where you first heard it.
Oh, I will. I got you. That's so sick. So, what's good with fifth floor?
Now is the time. There we go. We built up. So, fifth floor, I'm going to show you this.
Beautiful.
This is a fifth floor logo here.
Mm-hmm.
Designed by Carl Benny.
Thought so.
Carl Benny is an incredible artist. I'm not just saying that because I'm his friend. He's very talented, and he did the logo here. And we put together a little magazine that's going to go with the video, which don't have a release date on yet, but it's coming soon. And it's looking like it's going to be the first few months of the year. It's going to come out in one of the first months of the year. It's a project we've been working on it's kind of a continuation of Blazed. If you've seen that video, the last video that David made in Copenhagen, that was about 3 years ago. And those clips just kind of tumbled over. Some even came from the filming of that and started this project. And we didn't realize we were starting this project at the time. We just knew that there was a vibe and we kept filming. And it came to a point, I remember, where we became conscious, like, okay, we're doing something here. What is this? Let's like put our energy into this. And we started having like, you know, selectively going out to film, like intentionally going out to film for the video. And we just been stacking for the last 2 years. And then it got like really serious. I guess the last year there's been like, like you start thinking, what do I want for it? And to be honest, a lot of it's just been so spontaneous. Like, it's just tricks have just happened, and we've been there to capture them. And yeah, I'm excited for that to be released into the world. David deserves a fucking huge round of applause when that comes out. And yeah, this is going to be available in limited quantities, just because we didn't press get many of them made. There's going to be some available in the UK, maybe some available through Skate Pro, and some available in the States. But it's going to be very small numbers, and it's not because we're trying to be exclusive. It's just the way it is with not
It's
wanting to
fucking
be
expensive, man.
lots of stock and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to have something physical to, hold on to. And
yeah, anytime projects make something physical, I try to buy it, especially if it's paper. Yeah. But
it's nice. It's like, I think you could fit this one in your back pocket. No, it's a little bit too big for the back pocket.
You put a little baseball hat curve on it, it'll fit in the back.
No, it's not going to save you from a bullet either. So like, don't be putting it on your jacket breast. Like,
just keep it on you for little bits of inspiration. You flip through and you'll be like, feel good. I'm gonna go do that.
David's talented photographer. He's a talented skater. He's a talented light technician. He knows so much about lighting. He's a talented, like, David is just, whatever he does it to perfection. And it's just like, I'm amazed by David.
Yeah,
it's really awesome that you get to work with him so closely. Like, yeah.
It's something I have to remind myself of, and it's something that is surreal, because David is like, same with David, but also the same with Quinny, and actually all the guys in Copenhagen. I've grown up watching videos of these people like David. I literally remember like staring at the screen in my grandma's house, using her computer to watch like David edits. And he was like one of my favorite skaters. And I skated rollerblade at the time, and I skated the like rollerblade solos like him. And I remember the first time I ever went to Winter Clash, I was 13 years old, and David was skating the mini ramp, and he had a helmet on at the time. It was in the period where he was wearing a helmet. And I went up to him and I said, "We got the same skates." and I said something like that. And then he was just kind of busy skating the ramp, and he was like, "Cool, man." And it's so funny to now think he's like one of my closest friends,
It's so funny how small and how big the skate community is. Like, you guys aren't from the same country. You're both living in somewhere different, and you're now best friends. But yeah, it's like such a small community, but so widespread. It's great.
It's so like, that's the things I'm talking about too, when I'm talking about returning to like appreciating those things about skating, because it's so easy to become critical about rollerblading culture to the point where you almost disinterest yourself from it sometimes. And I think that it's important to remind yourself in a sort of like therapeutic way that what skating actually is good for, and what you can't take away from it. Like, these things that you don't find always elsewhere, like the community and the network. And look at us, we're speaking like this. We've barely hung out before, and we can just speak like we're hanging.
We know we're all within that community culture part too. It's not just like we're looking at this like industry as like who's the best, because it's kind of like it's never the same. And it's like, what is the best is like a really arbitrary thing. You could nitpick anything you want. That's like
the question of like, you turn up to the skate park and the kid's like, do your wildest best trick, and you're like, the one I'm doing right now feels the best, like feels fine to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is that question? What am I going to sit there and think my hardest trick? I'm going to do this for this kid. No, like, I'm going to tell that kid, like, just like,
this is the best I can do.
Yeah, it's just
it is what it is. Like,
it's just not about like skating is just so much about friendship. When it comes down to it, for me, skating is like friendship and like about helping lift each other up in a way, like to that energetic place where you feel like you're like you just that state is present where you're just like, you know,
That flow state.
you're a skater. You're like in the lifestyle. You're living it. You're
Nothing breaks you out of that. Like once you're in that like funnel, it's like you're pretty deep in there of just being a
yeah. And once you've let it come under your skin, you know, once you've let it like sink into your skin a bit, and you're like, I'm a skater. You really, it's like really like a place in the world thing where you're like, this is my thing. This is my shit. Like there's all these other things I could do, but why chase after them when I've got the thing right here that I already know gives me those feelings I might go be searching for. Like I've had times recently where I felt a bit depressed, and when Carl, or like just not that good, and Carl Benny wants to go skating, and I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna chill and watch something. And he's been really good at pushing me sometimes, just be like, come on, don't be lazy, just lying in your bed. And I'm like, nah, seriously, I've been working all day. You haven't, you don't know what it feels like. And all that. And then eventually I sometimes come skating with him, and I'm reminded how good that feeling is of just like, fuck, you know, it's relieving.
It definitely is. I've been really feeling like solo sessions recently. Just like putting on my skates and just skating a park by myself. Like no external forces deciding what I'm gonna do. Just letting it happen. Only skating for like an hour or two and getting out of there. Not that I don't love skating with other people, but it's really nice to get back to that point of like just practicing.
Who do you skate for?
Me.
That's a good trick question.
Yeah. Who do you skate for?
Also myself.
Okay, good. I'm proud of you.
I skate for myself. I think at times I skate. Yeah, I skate because I don't know how to not skate.
Interesting. I like that you put it that way. I feel the same sometimes.
I skate because my life feels like a bigger problem to handle if I'm not skating. But if I'm skating, then life somehow has a softer blow. It's like, oh, then it makes sense. Then that makes sense why I'm going through that, because you know then that comes in. But if I take skating away, I'm like, what? It's like,
I mean,
why is the suffering so hard? No,
well, I like for me, I think about it like my closest friends are through skating. If I took like skating out, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna remove a majority of my closest friends. I'm gonna like stick with the periphery friends that we don't have any common interests. It's like I can't really imagine doing that.
it's also not so black and white, I guess, because in the sense that skating is so flexible, and if you know the feeling like we do and you're involved in the culture like we are, skating doesn't actually necessarily mean like skating with your friends. Like skating is just like this thing that you can share. And once you know it, like I could stop skating tomorrow and still meet up at sessions and know how to be at a session. Like, you know, like I don't think I would ever feel like alien at a session. Like I know what the
Yeah, just being part of the peanut gallery at a session is half the fun.
peanut gallery.
Yeah, dude. Just like I don't know, just the shit talk and the little one-liners that you get in there and like hyping your friends up. Like the peanut gallery is like just as much fun as like getting the trick and skating, especially at street sessions.
That's my favorite to watch in the videos. Like it's really it's amazing when you see that the energy shines through of like what led a trick to be, or like the whole atmosphere someone was in at the time they did a trick, and it makes so much sense. Like you just feel like the gap shortens, and you feel like you're almost there with the people, like because you know that feeling so well. So when you see someone else feeling that thing, you instantly identify with that. Like
No, that's an interesting take. Like that, how do I put it? Yeah, that by being the homie, you're put into the session the same way that, yeah, it's interesting.
it's just kind of because if you kind of switch positions in the group, like the constellation. So it's like the person who skates the rail is sometimes the person sitting watching the person skate the rail, and you kind of share the role of being those different things in the crew or whatever. And like I've not really taken the filmer role personally, but that's something that I feel that that's a whole new relation to skating if I step into that role. And that's putting my skating in a whole new thing, because like I see David do it where he's behind the lens, and the next thing you know, he's going down in front of the lens, and it's like, you know, that's this rotational thing where you're seeing skating from different perspectives. And it's sometimes nice to, yeah, just be the one sitting at the side and watching someone process how they're going to do a trick, or realizing like this spot isn't for me because I couldn't bring out the best in this spot the same way that other person could, you know.
That's a special place to be, like within your own skating and like how much experience you've had with skating. I know there are people that like sometimes come out with us that don't skate as often, and they don't want to do that at all because maybe they haven't skated as often or don't get the chance to. But like most of the guys that I like to hang out with, we go out and it's like that's just as fun as doing the trick, like to be there and be like, dude, you're kind of leaning over, lean forward more. Stop doing that.
Commit, dude. You just got to put yourself on top. Like there's just times, I don't know, that's part of fun. But yes, there are people that even I skate with down in LA that they're not stoked to be just hanging out watching somebody else get filmed.
I know that. I know that feeling as well, and I know it from the other side too, of being the one who's getting filmed and feeling bad that you've got like a group of people there maybe having to wait on you. Um, you know, I think it can change the vibe. It can make you very like it can create some hyper focus sometimes, and it actually changes the way you skate because you know that people are watching, and so you have to like perform as quickly as possible or something. Whereas if you're just chilling and you're in a friendly environment where you know that people are not going anywhere, I think it opens up your creativity because you're more relaxed, and so you receive new ideas easier.
Hmm.
Like when you watch someone like Neil skate and Hit It Wet video, for example, it's like he's just like standing at the top of the rail, looking at the rail, maybe asks what it is, and you say like then you say it's a rail, and then something comes to Neil's mind that nobody else could perceive, like, you know, that's
He's got one of the coolest brains for this I've ever seen, and bodies.
seriously, like skating like Neil's couldn't come to be at those pressed sessions. Like, you know, Neil, like, you know, he opens up like a flower. He needs time. He needs
Needs
space.
to
You know?
blossom.
It's so strange though, and he'll do some cool stuff, and it's like, hey Neil, you want to just do that one more time? No, I'm done. I did it. Bye bye. It's like, all right.
Seriously, I've got the funniest like Neil. I seen him in action in Peru in a way that like was like he turned up to Peru without like with like an Instagram's message of notice, like the night before, saying I'll be in Peru tomorrow, and he turns up with like a Ross's Christmas bag with some skates he found at like a secondhand store. And then they snapped on the first trick because they were like some recreational skates, and he tried to drop off a roof with them and they snapped. So then he landed the trick in someone else's skates. And from then on, throughout our time there, I felt like it was a tradition that Neil had created with himself, that every trick in the video is done in a different person in the crew's skates. And so I came one time, like, so we'd walk to Machu Picchu, to like the town Aguas Calientes under Machu Picchu, and there's a train track, and we'd walked along the train track to Machu Picchu, and we'd drunk some San Pedro that this guy had given us in Cusco. And I went away to get myself some food when we got to this town in the market. And when I was coming back, I could see Neil skating in the distance. And they'd been chilling and he'd started skating. And I come closer and I realized he's got my skates on. And they're like, I was sure they were like 4 sizes too big for him. And I said, like, Neil, and I'm just like looking at him like, what the fuck? And he said he liked the feeling of them being bigger, it like changed the balance. And I was just like, wow. And then he's like grinding the train track. And from that point on, it was just like always a different pair of skates he had on when he did a clip. And if you watch the video with that in mind, I think it's funny to notice that.
That is so, I mean, I could see all of that happening with Neil, honestly. but that's such a funny little piece. Now I got to rewatch Inti.
Neil loves it. That guy loves a good experience. I went hiking with him, and he tried on everyone's backpack while we were hiking. Whilst he's like, "Let me try yours now. Let's keep trying." And he gave everyone an evaluation. He's like, "That one has no good lumbar support."
A good backpack is hard to come by, honestly.
He tested all of them.
And still went with the Ross's bag. Faithful. The
old duffel.
punch.
So whose artwork is that behind you?
That's my own.
Oh.
I painted these. It's my frogs. I had a little period at the start of the year where I was painting a lot of frog faces. Yeah. I like the froggy energy.
The frog energy is nice. It's got a nice alien vibe too. It's like,
yeah, that's the thing. It's like an alien-headed frog. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of just like a, like, I don't know. It's a vibe of just like.
yeah,
it's just I don't know, but let's try. We can try. I don't know. We can try.
Yeah, you seem like a lily pad kind of guy.
Your pad or mine? That was written on the back of Matty Schrock's t-shirt in Peru. It was like a Budweiser t-shirt, and it was like two frogs, and it was like your pad or mine.
The Budweiser frogs.
Very smart.
It's an old ad.
I don't remember those. They were frogs.
Yeah, I guess I saw them when I was looking at ads.
When you were dreaming of when you could become 21 and drink the devil's liquid.
Strange frogs are getting banged up on those lily pads.
Somebody made a point yesterday to me that, 2021, now all those people born in the year 2000 are going to be able to drink a legal drink in the States.
I didn't even think of that.
That's pretty interesting. Actually kind of scary.
Wow, that's so good of them to wait a whole 21 years of their life to crack the lid.
To consume legally.
Dude, imagine that. Being born in the year 2000, you just get your you never forget your age at all. It's so easy. No math. It's just like there for you.
Mm.
What were you born, Dom?
I was 1997.
Okay.
And that means that next year, 2021, is my year of the ox. It's for people born in 1997 also. So I'm expecting good things from next year. The Chinese horoscope, I hope it delivers.
I heard about you might have a pro skate coming out. Someone told me that. Someone that probably knew.
Someone that probably knew.
Yeah. He seemed to know the guy.
Who might know? Who could be the cherry dropper or whatever you call them?
Really good high level skater, had tons of pro skates, still does it to this day. He's basically does every day he's filming an Instagram section, powder skates, all different kinds. He's got blonde hair. He let me know that you were on the list. And now that I know, it's basically public knowledge.
Yeah, now that we're discussing the matters.
Hey, we're already an hour in. They may never know about this part. Go to town.
Yeah, who knows if they're even going to listen this far? So talk away.
I mean, there's been something in the works for a while now, and it's just about, yeah. I don't know how much I can say, really. I don't know if there'll be something coming, hopefully.
But
is it coming? Is something coming, or
something is coming. I don't know when.
Okay.
Is it the mind games going to visit us? Something's coming.
I didn't say where it's coming from or what it is. I just I sense something clairvoyantly. It's something's in the air. I'm getting a whiff.
Okay.
No, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say anything clear on it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely.
Could you say what model? There's only like 3 models you could be. That's like kind of a big detail.
I think people are smart enough to be able to guess.
Yeah. It's always fun to spell it out though.
Yeah, well,
So
well,
rules here.
what are your thoughts on the Shimas?
Say what?
What are your thoughts on the Shimas? The new Shima.
I knew you would ask me that question actually. And I had to like I thought that question might be asked. But yeah, I mean it's Shima. It makes, a lot of sense that they re-released that or
Shima
released that
belts.
skate. Yeah. And of course, there is a lot of people got back into skating who come from that period of when Shima was skating hard back in the day, when he had that skate originally. And there's also a lot of people still in skating who idolize Shima, and his like name is a legacy. It's like a brand in itself.
It was a brand.
And yeah, and yeah, and it was also a brand. um, but yeah, to release that is nostalgic, and um, I mean it's also kind of timeless because it's one of those models like the cult that is iconic somehow. I do I do think it's really important though, as a skate community, we put focus on the companies to support the next generation of skaters and like the younger generations of skaters coming through, because I think it's really important. I think that I really respect John for that. For I think transparency is very important, and we're not going to get any further without it. If in terms of like we're not going to be able to construct a new relation with the industry without transparency, because people feel so confused as to what the situation is.
Where's the
So in order,
money
yeah,
going? Kind of.
yeah, it's a money thing, and for me, it's also a vision thing.
Mhm.
It's about what are we going for here? Like like if you look at skating culture, why do we care? Like what's the point in caring? Um, unless there's like, and we have to look at why we care for skating. And once we've figured out that, we can then use that understanding and apply it to how we want the skate industry to respond to that, if that makes sense. Like, so say you identify that the thing you care about most in skating is kind of this friendship thing, or this these kind of grassroots style things of
The
like just
community bond.
Hmm?
The community bond that
Yeah,
you
the community bond. And if you then take that understanding and you look at the companies and you think, do these companies contribute to that community bond? Or like do they breathe life into that? Or are they not interested in that? Or do they want to just supply the community with skates and then that be it? Or do they want to take an active involvement in helping skaters develop possible careers? Or otherwise, maybe we have to think about skating in a whole other way and start looking into other subcultures and how they manage and organize themselves. And that's usually I think it's skating sometimes has those spectrums where it's either like this really punk Haitian thing where they're just completely doing their own thing, and it's just weed and confusion and filming and just like years gone by, or it's the other end of the spectrum where it's like TikTok videos and you know censoring yourself to the point where you hope that people outside of skating will accept you as a brandable image. But then you're like, what do I want here? Because to be honest, I'd rather save my dignity and get myself a normal job and be completely who I feel I want to be on my skates. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to tone myself down for a company in a way, if that makes sense.
Like, are you saying like you're like even like virtue posturing, like and like trying to present yourself like when you say like censoring yourself, like is that for like even like skate brands, like trying to be like Like, is that what you mean? Or is it like, are you talking about like exterior things like outside of skating that would be like a branded thing? Or like a rep.
I think when I say censor myself, I guess I just mean like, I think it's important to stay true to the feeling of what you think skating is, you know, like whatever, like you if you see a company doing like a branding or something and you feel it doesn't resonate with what you feel skating is, then I mean, sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not so important. Because I'm not like strict and hard headed with it. Because I'm also like, I don't take these advertisements to heart or anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, to be honest, if a culture is gonna like the skateboarding, for example, it has the roots and the amazing thing, but it has all the commercial stuff, and it's fine with it all. Like all of it's there, and that's fine because there's a place for everyone, and you can use it for like make the most of it. Like if somebody offered me a load of money, I'm sure I would have good fun with my friends just doing it and laughing at using the money elsewhere, you know, like just laughing it off. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good, like if we could use this in some sort of commercial way, it's like, why not use this skill that we've already all worked on to like make that extra money to do the real stuff that we actually care about? It's like we could go and work in a supermarket, or you could use this talent to make the same amount of money, whether you call it branding or selling out. It's really just another gig and job that you can use to do what we're already doing. And that's what I think we're all looking for too. Something that lets us continue to do that other thing that we want to do while having like a roof over our head.
Yeah, I think everybody's just looking for a place where the companies are supporting what the people are already doing. Like, and that's the part that's kind of not there currently in our sport, but it is there in a lot of other sports
Mm.
where they just let the people do whatever they were doing prior to being sponsored, but just doing it under their name. Not asking for like I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard one because as a sponsored skater, do you feel like as a pro skater, you're a pro, correct?
I don't know. He doesn't really know yet.
Yeah. So
I have the title of pro. I have the title of pro.
you have the title of pro.
Yeah.
As with that title,
Pro
are
field.
you asked to do anything?
Say it one more time.
Have you been asked to do anything? Like, are you supposed to do?
That's
Do you have like
that's where I am confused. Like this is where my confusion comes to play, kind of, because I think I don't. It's hard for me to speak of any other relation to skating other than my own, because of course, I hear stories and stuff, but I think people in skating make their own agreements with companies, whether that's contracted or not. They just make these kind of like word of mouth things. And in that, there's some things you agree on, but in that, there's also some assumptions that I think come with it that you don't necessarily speak about, but you assume that's something good you should do or not. And you know, I skate razors, and I represent razors with my skating. Like when I post something, it's razor skates I have on. When I'm at the skate park, it's razor skates I have on. Like that's the skates I have on my feet. And I mean, I go to competitions, and that's that's the brand I'm representing. And I would like there to be more active projects happening. I would like a feeling that I'm on a team, and really that I know everyone on the team, and that I have like that's my team. You know what I mean? That's kind of, there's a feeling that I think that's a feeling that you can have, like the them team. It's a bit different because they're all based in kind of the same place. For the most part, a lot of them were living in like LA,
Mhm.
Santa Ana, and that, you know, allows them to meet up physically and create stuff and have these conversations that are important. And to be honest, some of these conversations are hard to come by if it is just a thing of email communication and stuff like that. And for me, I would like to see brands have more transparency. and also have more like singularity in their brand image. Like, so that I look to Razors or I look to USD or I look to whatever company and I know the vibe that they are trying to present somehow. So I look to them and that's the them thing. Oh, and then you look to that and you're like, because I think on skateboarding or just in other things, like other just anywhere, there's this identifiability, like this ability to identify what something is about helps people to get into stuff. Like, so that helps people to get into rollerblading too, because they see something and then they want to go after that thing they've seen.
SSM had it.
Yeah.
Whole, like it had its own culture. Like when you put on those skates, it wasn't just like, oh, we're wearing these skates. It's like I am like with this group of people, whether you are or not. It was like you're gonna embody that image. The same kind of thing I think you're saying with the them team. Like certain people might take that and be like, that's a good formula for what I want to be like.
Balo had it, and a big one was Razors during like the late 2010s. Like even whether you loved it or hated it, it definitely had an image.
Same theory.
Yeah, definitely had an image. Like all that Brazilian air, whatever Brazilian air. Yeah,
but there's been a whole period in Razors. Actually, Razors history has been a series of identifiable vibes. Like when you look at the Shima Elliott phase, and you look at the Aragon, like that whole Icons phase with Don Bambrick and stuff. And then there's like, and there's been these periods in Razor's history where there's been very identifiable what the team image was. And I actually think right now it is hard to identify a team image.
I agree. It's I definitely I've bought Razors in the past and used them, but I think it was all during the periods where I was like, that's something that I want to emulate. And emulating is like, what else are we doing in skating if not emulating what we saw in the first place? We're like, that's cool. I'm going to try and do that. Then you just keep finding new things that you're like, oh, this is cooler. Maybe I like this is cooler than this one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, for me, like in a dream scenario, I would have like a group of skaters that I would want to be on a trip with, sharing memories, and like feel like this is Razors is or like whatever brand is the brand you represent, but you carry the vibe. Like you know, the brand is a way for you to deliver your vibe, and then the brand can own part of that because they support you. So like you bring the vibe, and then the brand helps you sustain and support that vibe. But to be honest, it's rare that the brand in itself has the vibe. Them is different, but the vibe is usually the skaters.
Mm.
I don't like. There is I mean, it's hard to like whatever.
I kind of see what you're saying though, like where some of the vibes come from the group of people, and then some come for the them team. It came from like
the top down.
Yeah, top down, and like this is what we're doing, kind of. But it's kind of creates the same thing in a way.
Yeah, I just think it's like,
I think the main thing is for the company, even if it's just the people that are skating the skates that are creating that feeling, that the company actually acknowledges it and continues to progress that, or like let it grow.
Yeah, and just put some kind of like some wind behind it, and just kind of like, because it's this feeling that, and that's maybe a little bit romantic to think that, but it's just like, if I just had support for 6 months, if I could focus on blading for just like 6 months, I could get something going, like if, but at the same time, you can find ways to do that in your own life. And in a way, it's important that that goes back to what I was saying earlier about expectations, but not relying on the brands to give you what you want in skating. Because I don't always feel the industry is there yet. There's some discussions that have to take place in order for us to have that functioning better. But in the meantime, there's enough punk energy to just like make it work your own way. Like there's enough of that, like, let's just do it our own way. Like you're both doing it. I mean, I just watched your section in Up to No Good. That was awesome. That's just you and your friends getting together and skating. Painted Wet is like one of the best videos to come out, and that thing is amazing.
We're both looking forward to Fifth Floor, and it's in the same. It's all the same groups of people in a sense. Like when I think about it, it's like there's Copenhagen guys, there's the LA guys, are doing it up in San Francisco. They got the guys in Atlanta, and all those videos that come out, it's like they come from the same place for me when I see them come out.
Mm. Yeah, it's like we could each be in each other's crews if we lived in different cities, if that makes sense. It's like we could easily do like crew exchange and it would work. Like it's that.
We should have foreign exchange crews.
Yeah, dude, that sounds like so much fun.
Seriously, I actually spoke about that one time. I remember like, visiting another crew, doing like crew visits where you like it.
Oh, like two whole crews go and like meet up like that?
Yeah, in the city where that crew like territory.
That would be on another level. I don't think has anyone really done that like that? Not really.
It's not battle my crew, it's like unify our crews. Like it's like
let's destroy the city as a unit.
Let's join forces. Exactly.
The City Life Strange video was kind of like that.
Oh, that was sweet. That was nice.
But that had that feel where like they just adopted the strange dudes and now we're doing a video. I think that should happen more often. Honestly.
I'm trying to be more local with my blading actually. Like I love Copenhagen. Like I think it's like an incredible city for skating. And I love it to the point where I want to like welcome people here and like show them around. Like that's where I'm at with it. Like it used to be me visiting Copenhagen to the point where I fell in love with Copenhagen. And now that I live here, I want to like make other people fall in love with skating here because it's such an amazing city for skating. And I think that the potential, like we have a crew here and the potential of the scene here is still not far from over. Like I just think the city that Copenhagen is and what it offers really can slot in nicely with like what we're looking for as skaters, like in terms of how to use our time and also just the way the city is built. And yeah, like I want people to come visit. And film. And my main priority is filming. I mean, I just want to develop. Like I just want to do wild shit. I want to do tricks that I've never done before, and I want to see other people do tricks that I've never seen before, and I want to see, that's what's important to me. I think, to be honest, that's what I find most important in skating.
New tricks, or just
no, just like video culture.
I like seeing it from groups like that are really dedicated to skating and that work with the brands, but also hold that community thing. Because those videos are, there's something way more special about them than any branded video. At least I haven't seen like, I guess the Dead video that David made, his last full length video had that kind of special feeling. But then I've heard about like all the work that he put into that video, and that's a lot of care on the other
100%,
end.
100%. That's sleepless nights. That's like, but I just think that there's so much, like I'm in a funny position with skating and I don't know, how old are you guys?
I'm 27.
Same.
You're 27?
Yeah.
You're both 27?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 23. So I would say, we're in the same generation of skating. And it's funny because I'm like the youngest of the older generation of skaters. And I like at the same time, I'm like the oldest of the younger generation of skaters. Somehow I feel like bridged in between because I've not grown up skating with young skaters really. That I've had my friends there, but I don't remember it being like, well, initially it was like early skate park days where I was with young friends, and maybe some people a little bit older than me, and then a lot of them fell out of it. And I kept going with skating to the point where I was like, skating at the same level somehow, or like attempting to skate or like reenact what they were doing. And then I've been really growing up around a lot of older skaters, like went on trips with a lot of older skaters. And, even in our crew in Copenhagen, a lot of these guys like David and Core and Christian. These guys are in their late 20s and into their mid 30s. And I'm 23, and I think that's why it was really special to meet Carl Benny and skate with him too, because he's 26, he's older than me. But it's like this feeling that skating's also like young and alive and not over yet. Skating's got so much it's not experienced. Skating's young. Skating is fucking. There's so many waves that have not hit skating yet.
Those guys in their mid 30s, like when I'm 27, I'm like, dude, you're skating like that at 33? All right, got like 6 more years coming up. Like I'm not even close to old. And then the more that they keep going too, it's like like you said, it's young. It's younger. The older the guys get that are doing it, the younger it feels for everyone else.
Mm. And I just think it's important to like focus on really try to identify the generation that's here right now and like put like energy behind them. Because I'm thinking of like, there's Marius, there's Parker, there's I'm not even gonna. I don't even want to almost start naming names because I'll forget people, and there's just so many people.
They're all over. Juwan is a big one. Like,
yeah.
The young Korean kids.
Ilya, Matt Reyes from Italy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's incredible. He's incredible.
I was just talking to Joey about him the other day.
Matt is crazy. He's not even skated for that long. He has got the steez of like you can't believe it. It's incredible.
Do you know how long he's been skating?
I'm not joking. I think it's something like I want to say 2-3 years.
No way, dude, because I saw this guy. I was like, where'd this guy come from with this?
I'm sorry, but I want to say 2-3 years. Like when I met him, I think he'd been skating for like a year and a half, and he was true top porning things.
Like, incredible natural talent.
Yeah, really gifted style. Like
Jason Adriani's cousin. That's who he is.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
That's funny.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So who are you stoked about like coming up?
I gotta say, like, I love Parker's so much. I love Parker skating so much. Like Parker gets me very excited about skating because he brings the best of what is not skating and the best of what's skating like together somehow. Like he's got just like raw energy, and he's got a history with skating, and he just lets himself skate. I don't know. He skates in a free way. And he's a friend, so of course I feel that connection. Of course Nemo, and of course there's so many, and why am I mind blocking? Julian Garcia, Atlanta.
Good choice.
Yeah, and with Louis, his friend Louis, right?
Oh, Luis.
Yeah.
Luis. Yeah, his skating's great as well. Marius and his brother, and I guess a lot of the stuff Skate Club posts is kind of covers a lot of the territory of what I'm inspired by. But I'm not so specific like that either, because I like to seek influence in other things too, like just seeing someone back rail or rail really nice. There's a guy who I met this year called Alan. He's a local in Copenhagen. He used to skate like 20 years ago, quit, and then was having a recurring dream about skating in the old skate park he used to skate at, and then went down into his girlfriend's basement and found an old pair of K2s, and they fit him. And he went to the skate park and did a few grinds on them and got back into skating, and his style is amazing. Shout out Alan.
Cinderella story. Alan just got to fit the golden slipper and he's back.
Yeah, and he's back, and he's just like got the tricks like from the vocabulary's just like been dusted off and is back in action, like 270 back unities, kind grinds, top misdrills in the bowl on the pool coping, in a pair of silver Aeons with corduroy pants on, looking fresh.
Oh, that guy sounds tight.
He sounds great. There's a dude.
Vasugi is a god.
Without being said. Without being said.
Bina, endless inspiration from Miguel's spirit. Joe Atkinson, incredible, unbelievable. The whole crew here in Copenhagen hits the spot. The people I grew up skating with in Scotland also, like, I get a specific kind of inspiration from them because they're connected to like where it all started, and you know, there's definite like respect there.
I see when you place a contest, I'll look at some of the comments and like I guess it's some of the Scottish guys are like, that's my Scottish boy, that's Scotland strong right there. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's sick. Still calling him out.
Yeah, and I think I watch everything. Like I mean not exactly, but you know, I don't really miss much in skating. I'm always on my phone. I'm a phone addict. I sit on my Instagram all the time. I see all the clips. I try to, yeah, I guess I'm a bit more selective with what I follow nowadays. I used to just follow stuff just because it was rollerblading. And then I started realizing there's a hell of a lot of rollerblading I'm okay not seeing. But there's plenty of stuff I want to see. And yeah. I also get very influenced by, to be honest, like I get a lot of influence to skate just from life and just like feelings and just like music. Like, you know, for me, I get very inspired to skate just by like through just like kind of emotionally, just like through how I'm feeling. Like if I'm feeling, like, I don't know, skating. That's what I meant when I said skating can be really relieving, because it's like I can be feeling a certain way and then decide to go skate because I'm feeling that way, and through that I get like really motivated for the session somehow if I feel differently. What about you guys? What about you guys? Where's your inspiration?
I watch a shitload of skiing, dude. I really like a lot of what's happening in like
Yeah,
the street ski culture. Like
I'm into that too. The whole um
the bunch is like a big
yeah,
one.
what's his name? The guy Mango. What's his name? Mango.
Jake Joe is like probably my favorite.
Yeah, he is like extra special to watch. And same with Alex Hackle.
Alex Hackle. They all ride for ON3P, which is like so sick. If you crypto skier is my favorite. Not my favorite, but yeah, crypto is so good.
Dude, Mr. Ski Guy's on a vibe as well. He's
yeah,
guy.
Yeah, Magnus Granier.
Actually, this guy, do you know Kyle Carlson? He started blading again, like, or he's been like blading a lot.
Yeah, the Vishnu guys are really awesome. And there's another kid. His name is Reed Hendricks. He has amazing style on the skis, and he also rollerblades in Salt Lake City. So those are some dudes to look out for. They're bringing like
that video. I was shown a video by another incredible skater, you know, Malte, who's from Copenhagen, or like he lives in Copenhagen, skates for Razors. Mm-hmm. He's inspired by a lot of skiing, and he's put me onto a lot of like snowboarding or skiing videos, street videos. And I remember when he showed me the Bunches video color.
Dude, that intro is ridiculous.
That was a eye opener for me. That was really good.
I don't think we asked you, how did you even get involved? Like, how did you even start putting on rollerblades? Like, all right, I'm gonna do tricks. Like, I don't think we talked about that at all.
No, we didn't. I started rollerblading because I used to like go to the skate park and attempt to. I tried everything when I was a kid. Like I don't have any brothers or sisters, and you call my skating energetic. So imagine when I'm not skating, because that's when I'm dealing with it. So when I'm not dealing with it is when it's like, you know, I am so hyperactive. I'm like restless, and I've come to I feel like I'm better at channeling it now, but I even have to write on a piece of paper next to me when I'm speaking to you guys, like listen, take pauses, because my energy just like feeds itself sometimes, you know. I have to try to not interrupt and stuff, you know. So my energy was like that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried so much things, and I used to sometimes go to the skate park because my friend rollerbladed, and I would just try to skateboard, but I couldn't do it. I would just end up standing watching, and I would be one of those kids you get annoyed at for standing in the way. And I remember one of these times I went up to my parents who were in the cafe. There was a cafe at the skate park, and I was crying, and I was just like, "This sucks." Like I like everyone's so good, and there's some like tall ass people at the skate park who are like getting annoyed at you, and I just was done with it.
Mm.
And my parents were like, well, here on the wall it says that there's a spring blade camp, and since your friend Aaron blades, why don't you try it for a week, and then you can do the same thing together. So then maybe he can help you like skate. And I just, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but my dad, like mom and dad, recommended that to me, and I was cool with it. I went with it, and for a week in April 2006, I drove every day 1 hour to the skate park with my dad in the morning. And by Friday, I got given a certificate that said I could skate. And what I'd learned to do was drop in on a tiny quarter pipe, like smaller than this chair I'm sitting on. And from then on in, I've just rode it. Like I was straight into aggressive skating, no skating prior. I don't even think I'd had rollerblades on my feet before.
Really? So you
Yeah,
just started in a skate park.
yeah.
That's awesome. I
Yeah, and
got
then
off
from
the
that point
skateboard for
on, I
years.
continued skating, and Aaron, he quit a long time ago when he was like 12, and I just like I've just like skating's been like my
Tunnel vision since then.
tunnel vision. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Do you have any
That's
like people say that they can't look over certain shoulders? Do you have that problem?
That's funny you asked me that because
You're a right shoulder guy, right?
yeah, I look over my right, yeah, but I can look over
You
both
spin
because
to
it's
the left.
funny. But yeah, it's yeah, exactly. But Kevin Kevin Yee one time was doing there was Shock TV.
Hmm.
And Kevin Yee at one point was on that, like, almost like the Hindu blading whole thing where he was, like, really philosophically involved with skating.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and, he hit me up and said he wanted me to do a shock challenge, and he was gonna do this thing called Shock Academy, where he would, like, ask someone to do something, and then they would try do it, and you'd film it, and you'd have it, and, like, it would be like you'd been given this challenge by Shock Academy, and he asked me the challenge was to learn to look over both shoulders while skating. And I actually fucking did the challenge and learned to look over both shoulders.
So is there a
And
video of that somewhere? With
I
the
never filmed it and I never posted it.
okay.
So because it never actually ended up being something, but I did do the challenge. And so yeah, I kind of learned to look over both shoulders better from that. But it's something you have to maintain because I notice that like if I've been going heavy on my natural side, then it feels kind of weird when I start turning over my other shoulder again.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember the name Dan Brewer. He was like an East Coast rollerblader, but he was my instructor at Woodward, and he made us do fakie threes both ways so that you
That's
never
funny.
yeah, so you never
That's
lose the
funny.
shoulder, and
Yeah.
you just keep looking in the direction that you're going. And once you do it a couple times, you're like, oh wow, both shoulders work. But if you don't practice it, it goes away so quick,
But
and it
I
doesn't
did
help
that.
with
It's
heart.
funny.
You like that
It's
one?
yeah,
It's a
because
really fun exercise.
you can keep your head straight the whole time. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
any transition, you just pop a quick three, and it really does help with both shoulders. But
It's amazing being able to spin both ways because you open up your whole like possibilities of what you can do because the way you maneuver around spots is like with going with the side you feel most comfortable with. And that can also make the movements less dynamic sometimes because you always fall. So if you can like learn to pivot both ways, then you can like switch up the movement. Like Carl Benny can heel roll and toe roll on both feet just as well.
What?
And like I'm talking like long. And I'm amazed by that because for me that's actually one of the hardest. That's so hard for me to toe roll or heel roll on my switch foot. I don't know why. It just feels like that. I don't have the muscle memory for that.
are
For some reason.
you a person that toe rolls and heel rolls with the same foot,
Yeah,
both with your right?
yeah.
Both with your right. Okay. Uh, I didn't know if you were like because some people are opposites, and that makes sense because it's like a hip movement. and that's when it becomes weird. But yeah,
Also makes sense if you learn doing one of them by doing like the heel toe. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also that same like it rotates your hip in a staggered direction, you know? So that's what I thought it might be. But split rolls are hard. I cannot switch heel roll at all. That doesn't make any sense.
It's really hard. I've actually that's something I used to feel like way more confident on. And I don't even know if sometimes I almost catch myself thinking I'm gonna blame it on the wheels or something. But it's like or, you know, you look to blame it on something, but it's actually just like if you're not doing them enough. Because I used to do toe rolls for a period like very, very frequently.
Mm.
And but now when I do them sometimes I just like fall forward. You know, like I get kind of like the stick.
Would you say?
Yeah, the heel roll is like so hard for me to stay in practice with.
How do you feel about contest skating? Because you do pretty good in contests.
That's a funny question, actually.
Most people are like, dude, I hate
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny with me because that's kind of what I was saying before about the like growing up in a skating in a certain sense, but then like embracing another side of skating because I grew up like skating all the junior contests, like from as soon as like you know I used to love like I used to put me through hell. I used to have to stop at like the petrol stations like 6 times on the way to a comp in the car with my dad and like shit my guts out, you know, and just be like I used to get so nervous,
Oh,
but
dude.
but I used to fucking you know I used to love the adrenaline of comps. I think and just like that feeling of like hyper focus and the feeling of like just letting yourself be carried into like doing something you might not do usually.
Mhm.
And it's weird because I feel like the way I think about contests is like that as if I'm not in them. Like it's almost like I just have to put myself through that, but mentally I try to be like not like, it's a really weird thing, I think. Because I like when it's winter clash, for example, like that's the to be honest, if there was no other contest for the rest of my life, that's the only one I would care about being in. Like I seriously think Winter Clash is like some spirit contest. Like that's the contest of contests somehow, just because it's so I don't know, there's something about it
Hmm.
for me. And I get so nervous and I like can't get into conversations with people because I feel like I'm losing my thought that I'm trying to focus on like when I'm going to be skating. And I'll go into these weird conversations with people where I'll be speaking, but I'll kind of not be there. I'll be like thinking about like a run at the same time.
Hmm.
And I used to be like that way more. Now I'm trying to learn myself to just be more relaxed and just skate, you know. I used to have the whole line planned out in my head. Like I used to literally have every trick I was going to do planned out in my head. And then I would have like fall alternatives. So then I would think that if I fell on that trick, then I have to start that line. So it's like I had like multiple lines that I'd mapped out in my head in the park so that like if I came off the 5 and went that direction by mistake, then I've already got like this programmed like tricks I can do on the obstacles on that side. And
Wow.
but I think that's also why sometimes you can like I end up doing so many tricks in a park in the time that I have is because I've like mapped out every possible trick I would want to do on the obstacles. So that
So
when I
it
look
feels like it's
yeah,
you're not surprised by anything.
yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like it's a certain kind of focus. So it's like when I look at the obstacle, the trick that I'd thought of on the obstacle is like ready to be done. Like but I also like to just like flow with it and just see what happens, you know?
Hmm.
Now, would you consider yourself a competitive person?
I think so because I think that I have like a feeling that I want to it's like a feeling that I'm not satisfied with things sometimes. Like I want to keep on like pushing more into something, you know, like pushing. And I think that in some way that energy is like competitive.
Yeah.
Um I don't know. I'd see myself more like I have a drive in a way, like for the yeah, it's hard to tell because the way I feel about competitiveness in skating is not necessarily the way I think about it in other aspects. I can't even think about where I would be competitive in my life other than in skating. You know, like if I'm sexually competitive or if I'm like I don't know how to think about being a competitive person.
I
That's
don't know, man. Like, if you play board games, are you gonna be like upset about losing?
Oh, I'm so bad. No, I'm so bad with games. I just give up. I don't even start. I don't even begin playing them.
Oh, damn.
I'm so seriously. That's something I'm having to learn myself. Like I yeah. I'm very quick on like if I don't understand something. I think that's kind of a mechanism I've had growing up that I'm starting to become more aware of. That like the moment I think I don't understand something, I just step back and like and so if somebody's explaining the rules of a game to me and I don't get it within the first 3 sentences, I'm like, oh, I don't understand that. Whereas, you know, I'm trying to learn to employ my patience a little bit better and visualize stuff. Um, that doesn't really answer the question of if I'm a competitive person, but
Well, it kind of does. It kind of does, because like the fact that you're like you're scared that you're not gonna be good at it, like you just write it off. Like that's the sign of a competitive person.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. That's funny. I'll get back to you once I've spoken to my shrink.
Well, yeah, whatever. You don't have to do that, but you should learn how to play dominoes.
Hmm? Should learn to what?
Play dominoes.
I got taught dominoes when I was younger and by my granda, and I've not played it in a long time. And it's, you know, it would be good if Dominic could play dominoes. That would be a
You should, especially if you're going to come to LA. We play all the time.
Hmm.
We play a shitload.
maybe we'll
So
play together then.
yeah, uh, whose section are you most excited about in fifth floor? Besides your,
Uh,
have you seen anything? Like, I don't show people a lot of stuff when I'm working on it. Have you been able to see anything?
so David is not really letting us see stuff. Like I was trying to coax a song out of him yesterday. I was trying to tell him, I was like, "What's the outro song? Come on, like give it to me." And he's like, "No, dude, like you're not getting it." I've sent so much music to David. Like we had a big like a part where I was sending him a lot of stuff, and he's found his own stuff. And I'd say I was very involved there, like music wise. I've definitely been very involved in helping um, give different ideas with music. Um, I love that part actually. I really like being involved with like helping uh, give music ideas to our music options when making videos with people because I think that it can change your whole perspective of a section. Definitely.
Hmm.
It's like music is so tangled with the video making culture. Um, but yeah, I think David hasn't really shown that much. He showed me earlier versions of my section, but things have been completely changed since. And he showed. I've seen the trailer.
Oh,
where
excited?
is it? Is it exciting? Yeah, you like it?
I like it. I like it. It's nice. But you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait.
That's
And
fair.
I'm really excited for the montage.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Because you guys have been filming for 3 years, I'm sure that you've had some visitors before all this COVID stuff happened. That's like pretty exciting, and how you guys probably had a lot of fun doing a lot of that other stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to big it up too much to the point where people have a certain idea about it, but I think that yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it, and I can say that it's the hardest I've ever worked on a section, and like it's not even that I've been like out there like blood, sweat, and tears, but it's like it's just the way that this section has developed feels very unique to David and I's relationship. And I couldn't have had that kind of skating filming with someone else. That skating is specifically related to the fact that I was skating with David. So I actually give David like a lot of credit for what I was able to carry through, like and do.
Probably
Yeah,
fun having him present what you're trying to portray too. That's always a kind of a struggle when you want to do a trick and you're like, can you show it? Can you make people understand it? And I'm sure it's fun working with him because he's always shown tricks in very interesting ways.
Yeah, I think we've both pushed each other to think about skating in new ways. Like I look at David as like the scientist, you know, he's so like he's so
He's dialed.
like
No,
he just, you know, he's not an inch off. He's just like, you know, so on point with what he's doing. And I'm much like I'm very much like I'm much more loose, I guess, in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And my tricks, I don't like David is the sort of person that could have like a trick list and go to a spot, or like, you know, have like a specific spot he wants to hit and he's got a certain trick in mind he wants to do on it. And it's much more common for me that I just turn up at a spot and, you know, something turns into something else. And maybe originally I start doing one thing and then I realize through doing that trick, like, oh, you can also do this from that. Oh, then that's the trick. And then I'm like, oh, but actually, what if you did that? And then we're like, oh no, that's too much. But oh, but if you did that, and then like come out like that, oh that, you know, like there's these my tricks develop often through like a conversation while skating it. It's like an ongoing thing that happens, and you go into this like at first it's a topsail, and then it's topsail this, and then it's a dit 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 dit. You know, it's just kind of like adding and taking away until you feel it's the right tone, like the right.
Right amount of magic happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's like a fine line where you could be like trying to spell cast too much. Like if you take some away, it actually makes the spot look better. Like there's that fine line, and it's nice. It's probably awesome to have a.
You don't want to smother it, right? You don't want to smother it because some. That's a discussion I had with Carl Benny about when you're doing kind of wizard like, more dance like moves. Some people can write it off and they're actually not paying attention to how technical that is because they just think, oh, it's just that thing. But if they took that same thing and jumped onto a ledge and did it while on top of a ledge and came off the ledge again, people suddenly look at it with different eyes because they're like, there was a beginning and an end to that move. And
there's a reason for it rather than it just being there. Like you chose the spot to do that thing. And for a traditional skater, it ends up working out a little bit better in like their vision.
I'm very much into that kind of skating where the spot is the trick. Like you couldn't do that trick on another spot because there's no other spot where you could jam your toe, kick a window, bonk a whatever, and you know what I mean? Like that is the trick. Like
try and figure something else out, dude.
Like there's no name. Like there's no, it's not that I did a fish brain. I did like a honky conky wonk bonk to fucking like, you know, there's just, you're just doing whatever.
Yeah, spot skating, I think, is one of the more interesting styles. Like, we've all seen ledges and rails. Like, skating that kind of stuff, it's like in topsouls, now like topsouls, it's like those tricks have been done. It's like seeing the spots and like what you can do, I think is personally way more interesting.
Yeah, and opening up the possibilities and showing people like ways of thinking. Because I think that that's for me what skating has become so much as well, is being like a, you can, the possibilities are really endless with skating. Like you can come up with new ways to do the same old tricks again and again and again. Like
it's funny how many people admire Danny Beer's unorthodox skating, and you hear him talk about it like, oh, it's so sick, but like nobody's really trying to do anything like that as far as what I see. Like be really out there as far as like your ideas and not be afraid to be unorthodox and maybe a little silly about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny what people appreciate and then they're like, but it's not me. I can't do that. I got topsail the down rail.
I think that I think I have to at some point take a camera into my own hands, and like I think that's the stage Carl Benny and I hopefully we have the opportunity there where we live together. We could make our own thing happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be much more casual, I think, and be much more focused on like just exploring movements and just like skating unconventional spots or doing kind of unknown tricks or something like
trying an idea to see if it works on film. I think that's one of the biggest things too, to just see if it even can convey.
mm,
And then as you learn to film, I feel you get better at being filmed, which is kind of interesting.
yeah.
Like by being the person behind the lens, being in front of it becomes easier, or you know how to like accentuate certain movements so that it looks better in the camera because you know how it's going to react.
Mm. David told me he's seen a big change in his skating when he started filming. There, a transformation happened when he started filming his own, got his own camera. Then he was watching back his own footage too and seeing things in his skating that he hadn't seen before and details and stuff, you know. And I would agree with that. That I can imagine, like, seeing through the filmer's eyes is important. Like when David explains to me what he's doing, it helps me understand what I'm going to then do. If he says that he's going to get nice and close, then I'm going to bone out my foot and, you know, like all that sort of stuff. Yo, guys, I need to pee so bad.
You're good.
I'm gonna be totally rude and like just take you to the bathroom so we don't even have to stop.
That's so much more fun.
Yeah.
And like then the skate community can just like hear the dribble.
Nice.
This is what I was really hoping for at some point during this.
Yeah, just a quick dick slit.
They're gonna be thinking it's basketball from all this dribbling.
Do you ever get
Maybe
hurt?
I'm just gonna place you on. I'm gonna place you on my floor, and you're just gonna like you're gonna hear me.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we still locked in? Do you think this is gonna go? This is gonna be online.
Yeah. This bathroom break, we're just gonna roll right through this one. We paused last time. I thought it was a bad idea. I thought we all should have just gone to the bathroom together.
Yeah.
I just realized that the quality of my conversation was going to decrease very like if I sat and held that pee in, I wasn't going to be focusing enough. Because
I'm about to.
I noticed that I started like shaking. I was like, my leg was tapping, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna wash my hands further just to be Corona.
Take your time. Everyone that's listening, thanks for joining us here on the Wax Toaster. This has been a great episode. We're gonna monologue here for a moment. Well,
So I'm like about to do something on behalf of the Wax Toaster.
Oh,
Okay, you just wait there.
gonna get a special do something from our friend Dom.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this.
Gentlemen,
Dom's doing something for us.
you're setting up for us.
Yeah, I'm setting up for you here. Can you see? This is my toaster.
That's a nice toaster you got there.
No way.
I'm toasting that wax.
Ooh.
Watch out, dude.
Just getting toasted.
Little melt.
And to be continued in the next series.
Have you ever been hurt from skating?
Heartbroken.
Oh, just an internal
joke.
thing.
Yeah, I got like, it's funny because I've actually been very lucky with skating in terms of like things like breaking bones and stuff like that. I definitely had my fair share of like really bad slams when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's actually really influenced the way that the tricks I've chose to do and stuff, maybe trying to avoid certain kinds of falls and stuff, you know, like, but one of the worst I had was when I was like 10. I'd set up a crate, like a pallet on top of a quarter, the half pipe in my local town. It was like this tinfoil, terrible half pipe, you know, just like very noisy. And I went up to wall stall it and fell and put my hand down, but my hand got caught on a nail and I was falling and it ripped my whole hand open. And like I could see the fat and the everything.
Yeah.
And it was funny. It was like in the summer and the park was full of children with their mothers and stuff. And I just looked at my hand and just started screaming. And like it was like a horror movie scene and there was a swimming pool, an indoor swimming pool there. And I went running into the reception, like with my hand like completely ripped open. like, call my mom. And like you can see it, the scar
Oh
in my
yeah.
hand.
Wow, that's a good one, dude. Oh, you can see where it went in, right in that crease.
It went in there, and it's
Yeah.
never ever healed in 13 years.
It's just like this perpetual little scab type of thing.
Yeah, and it's just dry point where the skin was so like, I think the skin was so tight that like they just managed to get it back together, and it's left that bit. And like you see the scar goes from here all the way, and it kind of curves a little bit, and it goes all the way to there. And my finger kind of like sticks out a little bit more on the side from it, you see?
You got a little extra movement.
No, it's just like, I was really close, they said, to like cutting my like nerves or something, or like doing some nerve damage. And then I just remember being in that hospital, like in the swimming pool. And then I remember waking up and lifting my head off the pillow, and it fell right back on the pillow. And that's the only night I've ever spent in a hospital. And I just remember my mom and dad were there, and I'd went into an operation, and they'd stitched it up. I think that's the only time I've ever been under like anesthetics before, actually.
Oh, that's it.
Hmm.
That's like that's like essentially your worst injury from skating.
But it's weird because that was the most gory or the most shocking. But
Mhm.
I was skating already, I guess, like a few weeks after that, or like a month after that. But the worst injuries that I've had that have taken me out the most have been like at one time, like I twisted my ankle one time at
Mm.
a competition in Poland doing something stupid. I just like rolled off a ramp, and my foot went into a torque slide on the side of the ramp and twisted over. Like my foot just caught on the ramp. And then I was out for 4 months. And I remember my first skate session after 4 months then was like at Summer Clash that year. And then I've had another injury where you might have seen the clip before. I go to wall ride a wall, and it's made of glass. I didn't realize that it was so thin, and it smashes. And I
Yeah.
got thrown to the floor. And I like my hip, like, and my body's a little bit like this, like a little bit off.
Hmm.
Like I hit my hip so hard. Like I had to go to a chiropractor, and he said that my body's like a little bit.
Oh wow.
But I don't think that's from that fall. But I identified that after that fall because I had such a sore hip that I went to see a chiropractor, and he let me know. But that was bad. I had to take some time off from that, and then I've had like, you know, a few months here and there injuries,
Hmm.
and they're the ones that are annoying. But I haven't had like those classic stuntman injuries.
Way,
Like, hmm?
way better off.
I'm kind of like, I can definitely save myself. I think I'm a little bit known for it. Like like just like when I'm falling, I turn it into a trick somehow. Or like I don't do what I intended to do, but I manage to turn it into something. Like I just feel like I have a lot of close calls that somehow I get out of.
Good reflexes.
Yeah, but I sometimes get almost anxious with skating. Like you think like, okay, I've been safe until now. When's the judgment day going to strike? Like what? Or like you hope that God's not like lurking over a cloud, like feeling malevolent on you. Just like ready to strike you down.
It's like trick karma. Like
Yeah,
you
exactly.
gotta take some lumps with your like getting good tricks. I don't know. I've
I
always felt
actually
that
I
way.
realized that I think I've been skating and sometimes like that way where I'm hoping that I'm not going to fall. But I actually right now want to skate in a way where I embrace falling as part of it, because then the falls don't happen so bad actually. Like if you're trying to avoid that fall, you end up like nut sacking the rail.
Hmm.
But if you're embracing that that's a possibility, then you learn how to grab the rail in a way where that doesn't, it's like when I see people like skate rails, I'm quite like, some people skate rails in such a safe way.
Mhm.
And I'm a tall person, and I actually find it really hard to save myself sometimes. So I
Interesting.
think it's led me to this way of skating where I either do something or I don't, because I don't know how to save myself. So I either just like, I mean, it depends what it is, but on big hammers and stuff, for me, it's like a question of like doing it one of the first tries or just being done with it, because it's too much, like it's stressful sometimes.
Are
Like I've
you?
definitely.
How do you feel about skating slow when you do rails? Like, are you able to do that?
No, that's weird because I definitely, when I was younger, I think I was gliding over rails. I wasn't properly going onto them, so I was going fast and then just kind of, skimming them
Hmm.
like down
I'm
rails.
good at that too.
When you see someone really like connect with a rail like as close to the top as possible, that's amazing.
Mm.
But without being too slow to the point where it's like you're standing at the top of the rail.
Yeah.
That's
I guess I've skated
mm,
with some people and I've tried to skate like their speed and I can't figure it out. I can only go really fast.
yeah.
Slow is really it's harder to balance. Lots of different things.
I think it's also like the way thoughts come into your head too, because like at a certain speed, you can cancel out some mind chatter. Like if you're blasting at a set of stairs, there's a certain speed where I think your mind like profiles it, like goes, like the the
Almost,
the the
The
sides
horse
come
blinders
in.
go on.
Yeah. And then and when you're going slower than that, you're still receptive to these like influences from here. You're like,
yeah, you gotta almost like black out in the air.
it's kind of tunnel vision when you watch people bombing hills in San Francisco. It's that same thing of like the point of no return where your focus sharpens because you realize you're not going to be able to get out of this. So you just have to be more focused in it. Because it's like getting out of it is going to be dangerous. So at this point, it's more like safe to somehow just be really present with doing the dangerous thing.
Very true. Yeah, your hesitation is probably way more dangerous than just finishing it.
Yeah, like trusting yourself, even though it's dangerous, is probably going to make your reflexes more natural and safe than being like frail and on the edge with it.
Mm.
I totally agree with that. And that goes with pretty much everything. Like whether it be driving or snowboarding or any sort of movement, like
I don't know, driving, man. You can get up to certain speeds in driving, and then you're like, dude, this is fucking like I could just hit the brakes a little bit. We're all right.
no, that's what I'm saying. But in skating, there's a point where it's too fast and like you're not in that zone.
Yeah, that that's fucking scary.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I've definitely had moments where I've been with people who are maybe more like reckless in that moment than I feel like being. I
Mm.
remember being on tours when I was younger, and I don't think I trusted things like hill bombing and stuff back then. And like everyone, like other people would be like letting go and just riding with the cars, and I'd be like, "What if you get hit by a car?" Like I would be very like vigilant and like slowing down all the time, and I'd rather be safe than sorry in those moments. But I think that nowadays I get sometimes the feeling that I just want to smoke a joint at the top of a hill and just like pull my hoodie up and just like fucking drop in. Like that's a vibe. That's a vibe, definitely.
Dude, you gotta hang out with Parker. He's definitely on that whole. Let's do it.
Parker makes me nervous, man. But I trust him, so it's okay. But I think you could hang.
He
It's
should he should be your guys' first foreign exchange crew member. You should just send him for the program.
Yo, let's make this work.
we're gonna
Let's
give you Parker. That's what's happening.
what?
He doesn't know yet, but we're sending Parker as our ambassador for
So are
America.
you gonna do like a GoFundMe like for Parker to do an exchange in Copenhagen and he's gonna come?
I'll say right now, I bet we could raise that money.
Yeah, for
Hey,
I,
shout out Womp Planet. You don't know what it is yet, but it's fucking coming. Womp Planet.
gonna wreck your world.
Planet. Womp World.
Womp Planet is a thing and it's
I
coming.
I trust you, dude. I don't exactly know what's going on in the Purumbas head at all times, but it's happening.
I would love to when the States opens up again, I definitely want to come over and film. I really want to film with you, Taylor.
It'd be
Skate with
fun.
you.
I'd love to.
It's like
This should.
What
I
time
think
is it over there right now?
Yeah.
it's 22 almost.
Okay, it's like 10:30.
Damn, we've been speaking. No, we've not been speaking for like we've been speaking for what, like an hour and a half?
2 hours.
A little over 2 hours.
Damn.
That's what we're talking about, man. That's why Joey said it too. It's like if we can't talk to you for 2 hours, like maybe we fucked up, picked the wrong guy. But we didn't. We picked the right guy.
Definitely picked the right guy.
And I'm happy about it.
I feel like we could do another one. I don't feel really like I feel like I could keep on speaking, and I don't really. I think it takes the first conversation sometimes to get the character chemistry going. Like, you know, like,
I mean, this is a big thing for us to meet you too. Like you said, we've never all really hung out like this.
No, exactly.
No, just at like Blade Cup maybe, and the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like brief encounters it like in a passing, like in the passing, you know.
Yeah.
When we're not really able to like rest into the hanging.
Yeah, but that's another thing that we talk about a lot down in LA is the like rollerblading cosign. Like, because you're like such good friends with Greg, like I knew that like we were boys. Like little things like that. Like,
no, it's true. It's like if your friend's friend, if someone's friend with your friend, then you can be like, oh well, if I like, you know, there must be a link there, you know.
there must be a common bond, yeah. And like knowing that rollerblading right off the jump like cosigns you in like a completely different way than like say, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely an awesome thing that makes it so it's not so awkward when you have a 2.5 hour conversation with someone you don't really know. You know, it's sick.
It's nice that it's funny, like when you post a picture, you know, like if I seen Taylor post a picture or something of him hanging with Parker, then I think I would feel like I knew what you guys were up to, like, you know, like I know what you're up to. Like I feel like I and like that's when I feel like maybe it's like you look like you're doing what I would be doing if I was with you, kind of thing. You know, like you like the vibe is just like you know it.
We see it in all the crews, I think, across the board. Like we watch our friends hanging out with our other friends. We're like, if I was there, that'd be fun too. And it's even motivating to go. And you're like, maybe I should go hang out with my friends here.
Yeah.
But this won't be our last talk. This is your second podcast ever? You were on Jump Street.
I was on Jump Street, and I cringe really hard watching my jump, like trying to watch my Jump Street back, because like that's why I wrote on this piece of paper, like take pauses, because dude, I was like, that was in the morning at Austin's place, and the night before Billy and I had I dropped off my girlfriend at the airport, and then I was staying a week extra in New York, and I went to Billy's place, and he had like this really strong edible candy on his countertop, and I was like, "Oh, can I eat that?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's really strong." And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." And I ate it, and then we went to a bar together and had a few beers, and then we went back to his. And the next day, I woke up and I was like, "Whoa!" Like,
still stoned.
Yeah, and just kind of like my brain was still kind of in the vacuum, like, you know, like, and I had to really pop it out with a few coffees, but then I was like nervous, but also with like stoned inspiration. And I was like, you know, just like
No, I definitely feel that, man. Good caffeine buzz and leftover edible. That'll get you talking.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's kind of like trying to resuscitate your brain like into a conversation, like.
All right, we're talking, making sense. Not so much sense, but some sense. Here, we just keep blurting it out.
Yeah, just knitting, you know, just knitting. But I was on that podcast, and I was also one time on a podcast with Greg, like a Too Easy podcast. And then I did one of those blading chats with Jason in lockdown. You know, he was doing these like blade talks.
Yeah.
I did one of those with him, and that was funny to do, like the Instagram thing.
Yeah, he's a cool character to talk to. I've watched some of his talks. Very hyped. I like how
hyped. Jason is a fan of rollerblading and a participant, and like, you know, he's like he loves it.
Yeah.
He indebts his life to it in a way that I love. Like when he, like, you know, when he has like passion for skating.
Yeah. I think that's what like any skater can like appreciate, like just someone that loves the act of skating in all of its highs and lows.
No,
I love that feeling of just, when you're at like skating a park or something together, and
mhm.
then like you're both kind of in your own sessions, but you catch eyes and you're like,
Yeah, just that thing. Yeah, that internal party.
yeah, it's a nice vibe.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Like skating seriously can be so confusing and so hard to categorize and kind of make fit with the some of the other ways and lifestyles of there is,
Mm.
like when you're describing skating to like I that's the thing with so when somebody asks me what I do, like someone who doesn't skate, when they say, "Hey Dominic, what do you do for a living?" I never say I'm a pro skater. I never do that. And I don't because I don't think I walk around I don't feel that. And in a way I kind of like if it's what you're called, I would like to either like fully embody it and like feel like it's like what you're doing or not have it because it's kind of like how can you own something if you feel like the what you think that thing isn't like really there? You know what I mean? Like
Almost like a false status. Like you could say you're a pro skater, but then in the end, it's like, so what do you get out of that?
I just don't want to be one of those Christians who just says they're Christian and don't actually believe in God. Like I don't want to be like they're just like oh they grew up and went to church when they were younger a little bit. Like I want to be like a true believer. If I'm if I'm calling myself a Christian, I would be like
No, I feel that. And it probably comes from the fact that you're not monetarily compensated correctly. Like if you felt like it was your profession, not a title, like it would be something different.
Mm.
yeah. I think that is it because then I just tell people what my job is and
Yeah,
I tell
because
them
it's
I'm
not
doing
your
my job.
yeah.
That is actually what they're asking. They're
Yeah.
asking where do you get your money? I can tell them what I love, and I definitely when I tell them what I love, I tell them that I skate.
Mhm.
But I don't say that my job is being a skater.
And that's shitty to be one of the best in the world and can't say that you're living off of it.
It's really weird because in Copenhagen here, there's like actually a lot of really good skateboarders too. And there's a guy Villy, he's on Nike, and I've sessioned with him before. He's like a really nice guy to skate with. And it's like there's just some of these people who are like they're able to live their skate lifestyle, and we do the same thing. I see them at the same skate park, I hang out at the same places, we know the same people somehow. And I'm like a fan of skateboarding community in the sense that I go up to them and ask them if they just watched that edit that's out and they've not even maybe seen it yet. And so there's so much connection there.
Mm.
But the way I'm just not able to um necessarily like be supported for what I do in the same way they are for what they do. But that doesn't, you know, I think it also makes it interesting because if it was just it makes me think about all different ways that I could live my life and try to imagine what I am. And I don't want to stop at just saying I'm a pro skater. I want to imagine myself in different ways and try to I don't know form a more like a creative path. Find myself in something that I couldn't have that I might be surprised at. Like there's so many skaters who've looked at what skating has given them and developed that maybe a little bit outside of skating. So they've looked at okay, skating has allowed me to have an understanding for like determination or whatever thing they feel that they've discovered. And then, oh, I'm going to try to take that in this direction and try to continue with that same way I've done it in skating. And there's people who've done that into video careers, into artistic careers, into whatever. And I do see skating as a transferable skill, as like something that helps you in life. And I do see skating as like a soul thing. I think it's like it's actually like it's like soulful skating. Yeah. That's
And
where I can relate to Miguel when he writes his stuff about skating. I'm like, yeah, skating is the fucking heart and the fucking soul. it'll get you through. It'll help you.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
cool to
it's
have
so
a guy like him that has essentially done that and rode that for I don't know how long, but it seems to be working for him in a pretty amazing way.
Yeah. Yeah, people like him are inspiring because I feel like they use skating as like a way, like a path, like like a real like a light for them, and I like that. And I also I like I think at times I put so much meaning on skating that it can become like a pressure.
Mm.
But you also it's so important to just let skating be this casual thing of just you literally just have wheels on your feet, like relax, enjoy. Like because of course it doesn't you can't it's hard to skating is just so much. Like it's just to us it isn't just going on skates as much as you want it to just be that simple thing. I can't go and have a session without having 1,000 associations as to what my this trick was in relation to, oh, that's a John Elliott vibe, or that's a da, 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 da. I have these constant like associative thoughts about, oh, that's on some Nemo shit, that's on some da, 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 da. Like it's just like a constant feed of like me relating my skating to like what's going on in the skating world, and I can't really stop that feedback loop from happening.
It's nice though when you have that loop to be like where you want to stray and like add things and kind of play with like you said like oh it's a Nemo style but like we got to push it a different way because you don't want to just do that. That's just copy.
Mhm.
That part's fun too.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like it's so interesting to think of like trying to skate in a way like that nobody can recognize that is like skate in a way where people can't really like wow, people don't skate like that usually. Find a way to skate where it's like you're actually just like yeah, inventing a kind of skating almost. You're just
that's what's really interesting about like the Lagos and even like wizard skating in general, where like it's two different like so you on one case you have the Lagos guys who have almost no influence from the outside world.
who's
Yep.
that?
So like Den Obu sorry, I'm
Ah, yeah, true. Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Yeah.
yeah, so like very minimal influences from like the actual skate culture, and then you have like Leon who created like a new form of doing what we do
Mm.
with the knowledge of what aggressive skating is, so like it's pretty interesting.
Did you know Joey went to wizard school?
What?
I
What's
love
that?
telling people this. This is your second guy. Yeah, he went to an actual wizard school and got the certificate.
Where
There's
was
no
that?
certificate. There's no certificate, but
Where was that?
in Vancouver.
He went and trained with the wizard master himself, Leon Basin. He has a course you can take. I love plugging this because not a lot of people seem to know about this school.
Fully recommend it for anybody that is an aggressive skater or a slalom skater or any version of wheels on your feet. It's definitely a valuable tool.
I got actually sent a pair that were on rotation around Europe. Like I think he sends out pairs to people that you would like to see in them. And
Cool.
Harry Abel had a pair,
Mm-hmm.
and Harry sent them on to me. And I don't know if um I don't know if the wizards are like size, like if it's like they have like a large and a medium or whatever. But I don't know. No, are they one size? Yeah, okay, so yeah, I had them. I just think expected them to be longer, but that's because I'd seen the five wheel ones as well, and they're like much wider.
Are they the 90s?
Hmm?
Do you have the 4x90?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely a pretty short wheelbase. Like the ones that I have are 4x100, but the 5x80 or 72, I forget what the progressive rocker one is, but their wheelbase is pretty intense. It's really sick.
But I seriously, I in the lockdown, I was almost exclusively skating on the wizards, and I was having a lot of fun on those. Yeah, I was having a lot of fun on those.
So
Just
you're
like
skating them on the Colts?
yeah, I was skating them on the yeah. I was skating on the Colts, which is actually like really weird ankle support, like there's nothing there. I just rode with it, and
Also with the raised heel, it's kind of awkward, but that's cool. Like, did
I'm
you?
so like, dude, I'm such a like I'm not a skate like I'm tech like I have no technical skate understanding. Like I'm not somebody who picks up my skates in my room and looks at them and thinks about the way I want my setup to be. And I want to be that person more. Like I'm trying to get back into that. But I'll pick up my skates and draw on them before I'll imagine the way I want my setup. I'm just like, and and I think there's so much things I don't think about with regards to how much your setup influences your skating. And I don't. I sometimes I sit and I think, do these skates even feel nice? Like I don't even know if this is a nice like feeling. Like it's hard to tell. Like I don't even know if this hurts or if this feels good for my feet or like it's like I
Are
don't
you talking
know.
about like different frame setups or like boots in general?
Yeah, boots in general, I actually find it quite hard to sense like exactly what a good setup is sometimes. And I think it's because I've skated a lot of skates for long periods of time, so I don't do this like cross referencing. Because people who like, some people skate like different setups or have like maybe three different setups that they skate with depending on what they're doing, kind of skate geek style. And then they know what skate they want for what thing. But I think I want to kind of like just be like that I can do whatever no matter what skate I have on, kind of
You want a
feel.
Swiss Army knife?
Swiss Army knife. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what is your current setup?
My current setup, I had to throw a setup together while I was in Corona because I've actually my Colts are thrashed and I haven't got sent new skates yet. So I got some old shifts and like put them together. And right now I haven't put on grind like my new megas yet. So I just have like the ground control 80 millimeter HD frames with
Mm.
like this grind plate on it, and then I've just got it on my shifts with Intuition liners. And I've been cruising around on those, but to be honest, my skates really hurt my ankle. And I've got this thing that happened on my ankle. It's kind of like it looks crazy. It's like swelling. And I go to the doctor and they pop it and like liquid comes out, but it's from a pressure point on my ankle. And I think it's from my skates.
Whoa. Is
And
it
I
like
had it also, dude, on rollerblades. I've heard of this from other people with the rollerblades, but I've got two. It looks like I have two ankle bones because the rollerblades gave me a soft tissue bump underneath my ankle, and I have it on both of my ankles, identical on each side. So it's this like soft tissue lump from the where the straps were on the solos.
oh.
Where the 45 strap was.
Yeah, like the Velcro strap on the yeah, exactly. And it's left me with this like, and I've had it since I was like 12, but I've got like it's a part of my physiology. Like I've got these bumps on my ankles
Is it like
from
from being tight and like putting pressure back
yeah,
towards your ankle, I guess?
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I might like my to be honest, I think I need to get my skates feeling comfier because I thought the Intuition liners were the one, but right now I feel like I'm not like snug. Like it's kind of like I can't skate for that long until my feet start to hurt.
Like if the liner's a
Interesting.
little loose, like thin.
Something like that.
Hmm.
It's like I start to get a pressure point after a certain amount of time, and you get that burning feeling, as if your socks are rubbing on your skin or something. It's like that. Yeah.
Interesting. You might be able to it sounds like you have like space between your foot and the liner. You might be able to downsize both your skate and the liner with the
Mm,
Intuitions,
mm.
which will make it snug, but it might hurt your feet. I don't know. It's like there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I need to maybe just test around, like test different setups a little bit and um figure out my recipe, my remedies.
Freedom
So
of
what
feet, dude.
do you
Freedom
have?
of feet, man.
Yeah, some remedies. Freedom. It seems like there's no more freedom though. It seems like they're gone.
Seems like, yeah, I guess. Are they? Are they gone?
It seems like it.
Damn.
At least it doesn't seem like they have any riders left,
No.
which really
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about Rams.
No.
I don't know
Did
what
you
to
ever
say.
skate Rams? I've never skated them.
I never skate Rams, but like seriously, some people can skate Rams in such an insane way. Like they're like skating balls in them and just doing things where you wouldn't imagine Rams would be a good solution.
Yeah, CJ was a great proponent of that. So was Dom Wagner. They both would rip parts
Mhm.
in the
In
floppy.
the floppy things, like
Yeah. Not the prettiest looking skate that there's been, but not the worst looking skate there's ever been. There's been some good Rams. There's been some good Rams. I feel like it's actually like right now with all the baggy influence in skate culture, you could like you could really own a pair of Rams if you wanted to. You could like, especially those old like white sort of suede ones back in the day. Remember those?
And if you could get your pants going over that weird cuff, like, and all you're seeing is boot, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you have like one of those like golfer caps on kind of backwards, and you're just like,
gotta get that they're good. So let's go.
you know, I'm gonna pull out another hat that I bought.
Oh, yeah,
I was gonna answer the phone with it on, but like you're about to get it. Oh shit! Where have I put it?
Hey, you be quiet.
Everyone that's listening, don't forget to donate to our Patreon and like and subscribe. Thanks.
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram. Everybody tell Darla to shut up.
I unfortunately can't find the funky hat I'm after, so it'll have to be next time.
Yeah.
We've been on for almost 3 hours now, Dom. Pretty hyped. It's been great.
Damn.
Any final words before your next appearance on the Wax Toaster? Leave the community or the skate industry at large?
I would like to say thank you to you guys for having invited me on as the second guest of your new podcast.
Thank you for joining.
I am very excited that you guys are doing this. I think that you're young and fruitful, and you're the perfect people for the job. And you just gotta reach for the stars and grab for what you're going after. And you just gotta leave the safety raft at the harbor and just go out into those deep waters and trust that you are gonna come back.
I hope we do.
That's the hope, that we come back.
But also, we're not afraid to just get lost in open water. And if this just goes that way, then so
And
be
I'm sorry to say it, but there's no going back. You'll never be the same again, ever.
You're about to be changed, like the last guy. He's going cross country. Who knows what's going to happen to you?
I like the life acid trip perspective that, like, hey, once you're in it, like you have to ride it out. Like you're only going to make it worse for yourself trying to backtrack.
Yeah, you can't fight that trip, dude.
I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to ride this one out to Babylon or wherever you're going to end up. You're just going to have to.
Nope. We're going to stay the course for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you to you guys. Thank you to you guys. And oh, look, I've got blood coming through. I picked a spot.
I saw that. I wasn't sure if you had a bloody nose or it's just some old.
Oh, I got blood because I've been picking away. Look at that.
Nice.
But yeah, thank you to Razor Skates and thank you to Orange Wheel Company.
Boom! Shout
Look
out.
at those bad boys. Can I still buy a pair of those? Because I got.
They are sold out, and
That's
we'll
good.
be back. We'll be back real soon with Dominic Bruce wheel number 2.
Round 2. You're gonna get a second one.
The first months of next year, we're going to be dropping a really interesting new wheel. And
anything you can shed on that before you dip out of here?
I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I'm going to say that I like to involve my friends in designing them because I want to, like, you know, use the surroundings I have and the people that I'm connected with to try to, like, you know, give something different. And the idea of this one was like the moon orbit and like it actually perfect level with the frame so that when it turns, it's just like one moon at a time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, like that's the frame, and then you get like it's cool. And I don't think anyone had ever done that before, so I thought it was a nice, simple, cool idea. and Guillaume designed that, a Canadian friend of mine who was living in Copenhagen. And the next one, I've Carl Benny's on the task.
I figured you were
Nice.
going to say that, which is great. I love to hear that.
So yeah, you can. It's going to be the exact same profile and like the exact same wheel. Like not like I get hooked up by Orange Wheel Co. But seriously, like I'm not biased when I say. I mean, you could think I'm biased, but I would not say they were good wheels if they weren't good wheels. Like they're really good, and they've lasted me like over 6 months street skating while filming for this section.
Damn.
And that's like I can't say that for much wheels.
No.
So I actually think that Orange Wheel Company is slept on. I think they're really good quality wheels. And Dan and Imani, the guys behind it, are, you know, it's not, they have jobs. This is something they've done because they want to produce a good quality wheel, and they wear them themselves. They skate and they use the wheels themselves, and they wanted to just like make a good quality wheel, and they found, you know, the pour they were after. And like a lot of my close friends skate them because they've heard good things from me, and then they've like Carl Benny skates them. He also had skated his for like 8 months or like a long time.
Nice.
And someone's had them for a year. A guy I was spoken to recently. Like they're really good wheels.
That's insane. I mean, undercover wheels last a very long time, but
Nice flat
Yeah.
profile.
that like
Yeah, it's kind of like a street. You know, it's like good for street skating. It's really good for street skating, I think,
I like
because it's got a little bit of a beveled edge almost, but it's like
and that
flat.
solid.
But once you work it in, you know, it becomes really like, oh, love it.
boom. Looking
Well, I'm
forward to
glad
seeing
they're
the wheel.
supporting you, and I'm glad that you're getting another one. That's a good one to end this podcast with. Is
And Womp Planet coming soon.
On planet.
5th floor coming soon.
beautiful.
Right.
And I want to be very active skating wise moving into the next year. Anyone that feels they want to get rocking, then you know, dial me up.
Hell yeah.
It's skating. Well, thank you again for coming on and doing this and talking with us for 2.5 hours. It's been beautiful, and we'll be in touch for you to come back on because this was fun. I hope you had fun as well.
Yeah, let's try make it interesting. Let's see, maybe there's different ways of doing podcasts and just conversations too. Maybe we can do funny like presentations or whatever. Who knows?
We're
Yeah,
open for ideas, man.
Fucking open.
It's
Well-
a new world.
A whole new world.
Hey,
Planet.
hey, you know, be honest to your friends about how you're feeling. You know, express yourself. You've got plenty time. Live it.
Words
Live
of
it.
wisdom. Thanks,
Take
Tom.
care.
All right,
Love
boys.
you guys.
Love you too.
Peace.